How'd I turn pain into energy? Through all the struggle and hurt, remember my worth, and that's why I gotta be first. Welcome to the place where dreams come true, where everything you want can be yours, if and only if you're willing to work for them, you're willing to hurt for them, but most of all, you're willing to be first for them. Ha, look, I'm going straight to the top. I don't know how I would stop, like it or not. I got some goals that I'm hitting. You hear what I'm spitting, it's hot. Look what I got, whole lot of passion and pain. The road to success is insane. Stay out my lane, cause I'm on a mission. I'm getting what stands in my way. Yeah, I'm a beast, I wouldn't play with me, baby. The way that I'm training is crazy, and I do it daily. You wanna talk about drive? I got more drive than Mercedes. I've never been lazy. I'm in the room, it's a red alert. You wanna compete? Well, get better first. I got 10 toes in the dirt, push through the hurt just to show them my worth. I'm the best. Yeah, I'm the best. I never stress. I know what's next. I'm who they test, like we playing chess. But I'm unimpressed, so now let me flex. Ha, yeah, I'ma work through the struggle and hurt, cause I know my worth, and I gotta be first. Ha, yeah, I gotta be first. Look, I don't want anyone's sympathy. I understand what it's meant for me. I give my focus and energy. If it's meant to be, then it's meant to be. But mentally, I'm undefeated. They hear that and say I'm conceited. Like there's no reason. Like I don't beat them and come back again just to teach them that when you work under pressure, you reach higher measures. They'll try and bring you down, but you cannot let them, and only get better and focus on cheddar. Eye on the prize and you'll become a legend. Like, when I'm in the room, it's a red alert. You wanna compete? Well, get better first. I got 10 toes in the dirt, push through the hurt just to show them my worth. I'm the best. Yeah, I'm the best. I never stress. I know what's next. I'm who they test, like we playing chess. But I'm unimpressed, so now let me flex. Ha, yeah, I'ma work through the struggle and hurt, cause I know my worth, and I gotta be first. Ha, yeah, I gotta be first. They don't know what's gotten into me, how'd I turn pain into energy. Through all the struggle and hurt, remember my worth, and that's why I gotta be first.
Down to this. The 4 top teams in the region will battle it out over the next 2 days to see not only who will be crowned the champion, but who will secure that coveted spot to Mobile Masters in Sao Paulo, Brazil. It's going to be an intense competition over the next 2 days, as all of our teams have the ability to close this one out. So who will make their way through the upper bracket today? Well, let's find out. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Snapdragon Pro Series.
Till a player on top, know it. Rooftop, penthouse suite. If you really want it, gotta own it. Fly through it, we was is at the lowest. Blood, sweat, tears, the components. Riding all year, now's the moment. We are not friends, we are opponents. Yeah, I'm coming for mine. Yeah, I'm making a play, the game on the line. Yeah, I've been on the grind. Yeah, I jump in the spot, I made it my time. Yeah, look in the sky. Yeah, the stars align, no shade to shine. Can't stop it already, emotional work and devotion. We put in this time, look. You won't stop my stride. I'll just break your line. I don't tolerate wasted time. Take us down, keep fighting.
The Snapdragon Pro Series powered by Samsung Galaxy is brought to you by Snapdragon Elite Gaming, Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra, Monster Energy, and DHL.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Snapdragon Pro Series, where we are back and ready to dive into our challenge finals for Call of Duty Mobile here in EU. I'm your host, Glitter Explosion, and of course, we've brought the boys back to close out this season. Somehow, this is the point we've gotten to. We've got Infinity, Bobby, Anton, and we have our guest caster, Connie, joining us, who you'll see a little bit later on in the show as well. But let's start talking about what we have in store today. Brody, how are you feeling?
Really excited. All of it, the entirety of the Challenges season so far leads to this Challenge Finals. It's going to be so exciting. At the end of all of it, we're going to be sending a team to Brazil. It's a really exciting time.
It's just going to be a jam-packed day full of COD Mobile action because we got EU and NA packed into one day. There's a lot of playoffs happening over the next couple of days. You guys are definitely going to want to make sure you got notifications on because there is a lot that you don't want to miss out on.
Notifications on and the coffee at the ready for us as included as well. But look, we're so excited. So much COD to go over these next 2 days.
Yeah, it's going to be an insane, not even a weekend, 2 days to be sure, because it's just going to be so fast. A very tight competition. If somehow you're not able to make it, or you want to find out what happened in the season, if you're just joining us now, you can follow us on social media. We have X, Insta, and Facebook, and that way you can get yourselves updated on everything that's happened and everything that's going to happen in the leading months, because like we said, we also have Mobile Masters right around the corner. And on top of that, you can also join our Discord at discord.gg/Snapdragon Pro Series to join our community, talk all things Call of Duty Mobile, and of course, continue getting all of those updates. But we got to talk about how this works. We're in a different stage of the competition now. So before we start talking about all of the amazing matchups we have today, first, let's talk about how this whole tournament works. If you've been with us for the last 4 weeks prior to this, well, I guess 2 weeks ago, that was our challenge season, the main portion of that, and the top 4 teams have made their way through to where we are in challenge finals now, Brody.
Yeah, absolutely. So here's, again, the path to where we are at right now. You had the open kind of area, all those teams move forward towards open finals. That was a fun time to determine the teams that would get to the challenge season, 8 of which we've had battling out. Now we're down to our final 4 here in Europe and North America as well. But at the end of the day, all that matters is to see which teams are making it to the Mobile Masters in Sao Paulo, Brazil. It's going to be a really, really fun time.
Yeah, these teams are going to be fighting tooth and nail to make sure they secure that spot, but a different stage of the competition also means a different stage of our prize pool. We saw at the beginning how our teams are going to get a little bit of money based off of where they were ranked at the end of the challenge season, but now that we're in the finals, there's even more money on the line here, Bobby.
Yeah, obviously, the money the teams were competing for in the challenge season looks kind of like pennies compared to this. Obviously, $7,000 on the line is compared to, I believe, $2,250 for first place during the regular season. So it's a pretty big drop off to second, but you're not going home empty-handed. And obviously, third and fourth going to be able to find something as well. So obviously, teams would love to grab any amount of the prize pool. They'd love that $7,000, but most importantly, they would love a spot in Sao Paulo.
Yeah, I think that's what everyone definitely have their eyes on. Obviously, Sao Paulo also having $200,000 on the line for Mobile Masters as well. So if you get first in the season, then you get first here in finals and can find good placement in Sao Paulo. That would be a really, really strong run for one of these squads. But speaking of the teams that have made their way here, our top 4 teams. Let's take a look at the bracket and the schedule, I guess, how it's going to work today, because we're kicking things off with our first seed in Kingston versus our 4th seed in Mont.
Yeah, and that's a game a lot of people look towards and have expectations for it to go one way. But Mont have got an opportunity to really upset the apple cart, so to speak. You know, these other 3 teams are definitely going to be fighting for that first place. A lot of people won't have Mont on their lips, but they are the ones with the least to lose. So should be a very interesting game to kick things off.
And then, of course, we have Omni versus Exclusive, our second and third seeds, respectively, as that second match. And you can see that reflected here in the bracket. Whoever wins each of these semifinal matches will move on to that upper bracket final, which we will be seeing here today as we're focusing only on the upper bracket to kick things off. And then not totally down and out for the teams that lose here, Brody. They'll get knocked down to that lower bracket and still have an opportunity to push their way through.
Yeah, another chance, I think, for these teams to really fix what went wrong in these upper bracket semi-final matchups. And a lot will go wrong because they're up against some stiff competition. I think especially for a roster like Mont, you got to go up against Kings for the first match of playoffs. Oh boy, you're going to be glad that losers bracket is there.
Listen, they've had 2 weeks to hopefully do some VOD review, maybe tweak some strategies or work on the mistakes, like you're saying, since the end of our season. So we'll have to see what our teams are going to be bringing to the table this time around. But we keep talking about EU. We have multiple challenge seasons that are running when we're talking Call of Duty Mobile. These are all of our teams that have qualified through to their challenge finals by region. A region we actually don't get to see a lot, Bobby, is Latin America. So talk to me about these teams.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the teams that we've got in LATAM, it's pretty similar to what we saw last challenge season. Ghost Esports, formerly Loop, so 3 of the 4 teams are the same. No surprise to see Glorious at the top once again. They go undefeated, but that was the case for them last challenge season, and they got 3-0'd in the playoffs, which is definitely a shock to a lot of people. So they're looking to avoid that. But once again, LATAM, one of the regions that is taking 2 spots to Sao Paulo. So some teams with something to prove. Inco going down to Amigos and to Glorious. So they're a team that I think a lot of people have expectations on, but they've still got a lot to prove.
And then, of course, you mentioned it earlier, Bobby, we do have North America coming up right after this. So, Brody, talk to me about these teams.
Yeah, North America is a really interesting region, I think, just on the whole, when we talk about the likes of Seminoles, Rejects, and Mayhem. For us, that has always been the top 3. And I think we're a little bit more clear now about where that kind of top 3 is in terms of the power rankings. So Seminole did take down Rejects, but there's an asterisk to that, which we'll talk about as we get into North America later on today. But Mayhem is still there as well, kind of knocking at the door, especially after some roster shuffling within the team. I guess the real question mark for me with North America is truly, can they actually take down any of those top 3 teams? Because they're going to need to if they want a spot in Brazil.
Yeah, that'll be an exciting first day of Challenge Season Finals as well later on in the day. But now, Ton, give us an overview for these EU squads in case people don't really know what happened so far in the Challenge Season.
Well, I mean, look, it started with a really surprising story of Omniscient up against Kings. We've seen that game as something that Kings will come into it, the nice and comfortable game, and Omniscient really stamped their authority on the EU region, or at least as part of that top 4, as they had a very, very close game up against Kings. Kings just about pipping them. Map 5 S&D overtime is what it took. So we very much expected Omniscient to be up and in amongst it. They have continued that trend, although they haven't quite done as well as what we would have expected. There is still that so-called top 2 in Europe at this moment in time. I don't think we could argue against that. But a conversation we had as we started going some highlights of some of the games we have had between some of these teams, and Bobby, we were speaking about it backstage. Last season, it was Exclusive who that 4th spot place. Now for Mont, they're those guys that are sitting there. Now Exclusive are sitting as predominantly the 2nd best team in Europe. So can Mont have that advancement during this playoff stage as Exclusive did in the previous, is the question we've got to be asking of the team who we really have put outside our predictions of who could potentially win the whole thing.
Yeah, Exclusive, a lot of people will forget, are a team that surprised a lot of people. They, no question, had talent, but as far as their competition up against the top teams, they had a very similar record to what Mont had during the challenge season this season, and it was really those couple of weeks that they had off that they were able to figure some things out, and also some of the other teams just didn't seem super well prepared. Given the chaos that is the European region, that could very well be a case that we see coming into the competition today. So it really is onto both Exclusive and Omniscient to prove that they've put in the work, and obviously Kings are the top dogs. I don't think there's any question that they will be at the top of their game, but there's definitely going to be an opening and opportunity for Mont to come in and make some noise.
Yeah, for sure. I think they've just got a real tough first matchup. Kings, I think, unlike in the North American region, where I think we're still a little bit unsure as to who the #1 team is because of what happened between Seminole and Rejects. In Europe, for me, it is absolutely certain that Kings are the #1 team because they took Exclusive to town during that series. Exclusive took a map, but every other map during the series was definitively a Kings map, and I think that's what's so scary for the rest of the competition in Europe, especially as you kind of already mentioned, right? I mean, around the grounds, things are not looking so also healthy for the likes of Omniscient, right? Who have not had the best end of the regular season. For Mont even, who, while have been competitive at points, maybe haven't been as competitive as they would like to be in the conversation for that spot during Mobile Masters. So for me, it's going to take a lot for any team to take down Kings here.
I think the real question will be, what were those teams able to figure out in the downtime that we've had? We talked about adaptation a lot, and these teams needing to either VOD review, be able to make those changes while they're in the competition. But now that they've had a little bit more time to work on specific aspects of their game, we're definitely setting the bar high for these teams, as they are the top 4 in their region ton. So we're hoping for a really tight competition.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, they have put themselves as being above and beyond everybody else. So, of course, we had some stragglers in the bottom 4 that were starting to heat up towards the end of the season, but too little too late, unfortunately. We've always kind of known since week number 1 that we were going to have that top 3 of Omniscient, Exclusive, and Kings. We questioned what order that was going to be in. Obviously, we've seen how that transpired. That 4th spot was something that was very, I want to say it was a tough fight to get into that stage for Mont. They kind of did the damage to get that 4th spot early on with wins over Icy and other teams who were going to potentially be in around that spot, but they made sure that they were there by getting those important victories. They found themselves now in this spot. What can they do with it?
All right, well, now that everybody at home knows what happened leading up to our challenge finals, let's start talking about the matchups we have today. You saw it on the schedule, you saw it on the bracket. Our teams were obviously seeded, and that means our number 1 seed will be going up against our number 4 seed. That is Kings versus Mont to start off the day. And I heard you talking about it when we were looking at those highlights, Birdie. You have them, Kings, being the undefeated, unequivocal best team in the region.
Yeah, and for good reason, Kings are just a very, very good team. I mean, these guys, I think they came in, they wanted redemption from what happened at Champs versus Exclusive versus all the teams in the world. And they have, I think, made market improvements. I think probably the biggest thing for me is you look towards matchups like theirs versus Exclusive, and you can very much tell that there is intent in the way that they play. They have looked so good, and I think a good reason why they've looked so good recently is the re-addition of Ray to the mainline roster. They brought him back after originally bringing Drari onto the team at the beginning of the season. It is the best decision they have made the entirety of Challenge season so far, because he is now statistically their best player. So great addition. It's made them looking better.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. There's not really a weak point on this lineup. We saw Drari getting added back into the roster. Didn't necessarily look like a great fit, and I think that showed more than anything in how close the matchup was between Omniscient and Kings, and how different they looked when they played up against Exclusive. Obviously, we've got Mont, who have looked very solid. I will say they've had some streaky players, and it feels like in each individual matchup, they kind of have a different player popping off at different points. It's just been a question of getting all players online at the same time. I have seen in some of the matches they've been playing off broadcast, Kirby has been in the rotation as well. So that could potentially be something that they try to throw in today to see if that's going to give them an edge going up against this Kings roster, because realistically, they're going to have to throw everything they possibly can at this one.
And then as we continue talking about the squad, we'll also get our picks and bans up here in just a moment. And this is going to be the part where I would ask you what could Mont possibly do, but we've seen that King's map pool is just so deep here, Ton, and we're kicking things off with the Arsenal hardpoint, but it's going to be difficult for Mont.
Yeah, we haven't seen Arsenal a great deal from any of the teams, to be honest with you. We've seen it, I want to say, 2 or 3 times over the season, so that'll be an interesting one. But as you rightly say, you know, the map pool for Kings is extensive. So whatever you go up against them on, whether or not you think it's an awkward pick, then that is something that is always going to be good for them. We don't get to see Mont get some of their favorite maps here either. So Summit coming in for map number 4, then we've got Express, Tunisia, and Raid in the control as well. Yeah, I want to say it's quite surprising map set, actually, for a certain degree, because it's not Hacienda first. So, yeah. I mean, there's always that.
It's a good thing, actually. I'd say this is a really successful map set for Mont on the whole. You didn't want Hacienda, you didn't want Takeoff, you got rid of, I don't know who banned what. I've got to assume that Hacienda was a ban coming out from Mont. That is a really good ban, because it's probably the strongest hardpoint map that you could play Kings on. So, yeah, I'm really happy with the hardpoint picks, and I think that's especially integral because, as we've been saying, the entirety of the season, maybe it's changed in the 2-week off period, hardpoint is Mont's biggest strength. They need to win these.
Yeah, as far as Arsenal goes, it's not one that we've gotten to see Mont play a lot in the challenge season, but it's mainly because of how strong they are, and the majority of teams end up banning it on them. Now, with that being said, Kings are also a very strong team when it comes to Arsenal. They're 3-0, but realistically, they're a strong team on pretty much every map mode combination. So there's not really a ton that you can read into that one as far as wins or losses, but I think if you're Mont, you got to be happy you get Arsenal in the rotation and express their technically their best search and destroy map because it's the one they've lost the least on. So, you know, I think they've set themselves up well for success. If you're going to be able to take down Kings, I think they've done a good job of starting things out.
That's the first step, all right? For now, I will send you and Ton over to the other half of the studio to start getting yourselves prepared for the first match of the day. And while they're getting ready, Brody, give me your thoughts, or do you have any stats? You look devious. I'm prepared to hear it.
Honestly, I feel like this one has to be in the hard point. I think it's the exact same conversation we had last time around when these two teams faced off. And to be fair, it was a really close affair last time around. It was on Hacienda hard point. It was a 50-point game between those two teams. It was one hill that made all the difference. Fundamentally speaking, Mont were perfectly fine against Kings. So if they can fix the smallest of errors in their gameplay, they can just be perfect on this first map. If they can start the series strong, we could be looking at an upset to kick off the day.
I'm excited to see how it goes. For now, we will send it over to Bobby and Ton to kick off our challenge finals.
Thank you very much, Lauren and Brody. Yes, very excited to get into this challenge finals with a game that, I think a lot of people will be looking at this one with expectations and an expectation that is heavily towards the side of Kings. But realistically, look, Mont have shown something over the season now and then. They have found themselves in the challenge finals now. It's the opportunity to maybe just try and maybe look better than that team who could potentially do something and actually do something.
Yeah, I am curious to see how some of the meta changes will impact these teams, as well as obviously we do have the OTM mag for the DRH is restricted now for these playoffs. And that was pretty much the dominant weapon across the board, even with a lot of the SMG players switching over to the DRH as well. So you guys will see probably not a lot. It's actually definitely still viable, just not nearly as strong without the OTM mag. So we do see a couple players over on Kings still rocking with it. But we are underway here on Arsenal. And Kings are going to look to get a hot start right here. Mont should have first entry into the point, but expect a whole lot of contest time as these two teams battle it out.
And I think one thing I really want to see coming in from Mont, Lydia has been one of those performers with the SMG for this Mont side. I need to see it on more often though. But when it's come up against these top teams, some of the SMG side of things from Mont has really been wanting. We've wanted to see a lot more. Kings are going to definitely be there on the SMG front. We're going to need to see Mont's strongest players at their very, very best here if they want to get something done, though. Grizz with the R9 has been somebody who is ever present in that kill feed, and so far so good for Mont. They have contested here. Kings do have some control over towards P1 and P2 coming up in a second. Mont do have that side of things. 20 seconds left to go at P1 though. Still a lot to play for.
And Grizz has just been on a completely different level for this season compared to what we've seen out of him in past seasons. Very interesting meta coming out. The AK-47 for two players on Mont. Definitely a slower version of the DRH, but has that 3-tap potential and the ability to 2-tap to the head. So we'll see if that's something that more teams start to run, but you see Mont able to get pretty even time off the start of that one. Some shots through the wall. The kills will go the way of Kings, but Mont do have those backside spawns, so able to apply pressure and make it 2 big kills on the top side. Daytel going to be able to slide on through Raid. There for the trade, so Kings continue to lock in the time, but Mont doing a good job of keeping it contested.
Spawn still at the back, so Mont potentially have a pinch set up here with number 2 sitting up towards the top. It's Lydia, she can push on down, and there comes the potential break. Grizz now left on his own. Momentarily, at least, and Mont will find themselves with a break. 30 seconds to go here. What's the control going to look like? Lydia with a big kill onto Inferno. And all of a sudden, Kings have to find a way back into this one. Mont momentarily are going to take the lead unless they all just get wiped out the point, as Raiden says, starting to combine. Now you're going to have to start thinking about this rotation over towards P3. It is a long one. Who's going to be set up there first? It's looking like it is going to be Mont. They take away the majority of this time here over towards P2. It's a nice start for the Mont side.
Yeah, this is not the dominant start that we expected out of Kings. They'll be able to find a couple kills on rotation, but it's the better setup right here for Mont, as they should be able to lock in those backside spawns. And once again, Kings are going to be left scrambling, forced to make their way down this long angle. Jayce is going to be able to cut off one and continues to be pesky, and my gosh, he's going to be able to do some big-time damage. Mont, keep the spawns locked in. Inferno doing everything he can to lock things in with the claw in hand. He's going to be able to find 2. Will he be able to make it a 3rd? Yes, he can, and now the streaks have been earned.
Nicely done. Felt like the investment needed to be there for Kings. Things were starting to get away from them just a little bit, but you can see a lot of operators being invested. They want to make sure they get the majority of this time. For him now being closed down, he should be getting taken down from behind, but JC will find a couple of kills over towards the front side. Mont trying to contest this as best they can. Daytel will be there, but Grizz now with the Sparrow out. And I think for Mont here, what you can take away is that there's been a huge amount of investment for Kings, but they have indeed made it count. That's nearly a full 60.
Yeah, even without a whole lot of spawn control, they did a phenomenal job of making as much time as they possibly could right there. Looks like Mont have been saving up, though, for this rotation of P4. 4 operators ready to go, and they've got 2 players in position, but Grizz going to be able to shut down both. Trades do go the opposite way, but it's all on to Lydia, and they've got to make their way off of those driveway spawns as quickly as possible. Daytel picks up a big 2-piece, but there's Grizz to trade, and once again, he is doing the dirty work for this King squad.
Gotta get it done with the Annihilator here if you are Fahim. Shots starting coming through. Says will be there to find 2 as well. Just for Mont, it hasn't quite been that story that they wanted heading over towards this hill. Last time around, Kings invested a lot to pick up the majority of the time over towards P3, and now we're at P4. A lot invested from Mont, but they haven't found anything until now. Grizz is able to find something. He's able to find 2, actually. Can he find a 3rd? Grizz goes off for Kings inside the point. They hold on. It's around a 30-point lead for Kings and starting to grow.
And that's once again going to leave Mont spawning on that driveway side, not able to capitalize for the range on those ARs. And Inferno just continues to lock in hardpoint time on hardpoint time. There's Grizz in the window, and once again, slowing down those rotations for this Mont squad. And would you look at that, Kings already set up on new. Mont will be able to get a little bit of scrap time right here, but that is a big investment for not a whole lot of upside. They have a lot of work to do to find a break here.
I think that's going to be the difference maker, right? You've seen Kings invest over towards P3. They picked up the majority of time. Mont invested a lot over towards P4, picked up very little. Can they find something here as we head over towards the last hill of this rotation? Lydia, JC, starting to find a couple of kills and a little bit of purchase over towards the points here for the side of Mont. Raid a little bit wayward with these shots, as is Etsy, though, isn't able to make the Sparrow count, and now Kings can find a way through just ever so easily. Mont are here in numbers and will have a potential to contest this, but they get wiped out the point. Kings just that little bit more efficient with the operator usage right now.
It feels like this is an issue that we've seen a lot for Mont. They've had a lot of good starts up against these top teams, but haven't been able to sustain and continually make the right plays. It felt like there was a lot of late rotations in the back half of this one that cost them a lot of hard point time, and they've basically not been able to find anything ever since that P3 rotation. So they've got to start locking things in. There's Marvel already rotated back toward P1. The Annihilator's been earned. He's able to find 1, make it 2, and he's earning streaks on streaks as once again Mont are sent spawning all the way across the map. Complete lockdown here on P1, and he finds 1 more to earn the pred.
Phenomenal from Marvel. Whereas the answer now from Mont. They kept things relatively close through the first 3 or 4 hills, but since then, Kings have started to just stretch their legs that little bit more. Daytel with the shots coming on through, but Inferno will be there to clean things up, and it just feels like for Mont at this moment in time, it's a little 1 by 1 by 1. It's a type of game where you need to just sit back, take your time, and consider what you're trying to make a move. What are you trying to do here? Try to find a couple of kills to find a break over towards P1. They know they need the time. That lead has now mounted to around 90. Heading over towards P2 now. Predator missile in. Doesn't hit much. It's the side there by any looks of things. Now Mont can find some look over towards the guns, and now we'll make a move over towards P2. It's not down and dusted by any stretch from Mont yet.
They just gotta get a big chunk. Right now, they're scrambling to get some topside control, but with the amount of operators and score streaks that you've given away to the opposition, there's so little to work with, and hunter killers, preds flying down from above. Kings are going to be able to earn some hard point time once again. Mont looking to push through. If they can take Marvel out of this position, there should be an opportunity to apply some pressure onto the low ground, but Inferno, the claw over top of the head, he's going to be able to find another. Time and time again, these Kings players are making the perfect plays as Mont have not been able to find an ounce of hard point time since that first P3.
My word. Kings just so efficient over and over again. Every single time with these operators, they're making them count, and Mont just aren't. Heading over towards the next hill in just a second, but my word, with 15 seconds to go, Mont could do with every single one of them. They're heading themselves over now towards P3. 120-point lead, and Kings have just done so much more with their operators every single time they've asked. Been late to the rotations if you want, but not this time. Scrap time is theirs. Priority on this hill is theirs. Now, can they hold on?
That's a completely wasted annihilator right there. And if you're Mont, you cannot afford to waste anything at this stage. The pinch is through for Kings. They're going to be able to take down another. All the pressure's onto Lydia and JC right here. JC going to be able to find the opener, but once again, they don't have the close side spawns. And until they do, they can't really hope to get any sizable amount. Fahim's going to be able to keep things contested on the backside, but just like that, Marvel slides through. Lydia, Claw comes out. She's going to be able to prolong the hold. But once again, all down to Daytel. Big time kill for JC, and with that, the spawns flip, and they keep the hope alive for the time being for Mont.
8 seconds still to play for. The shots in from Marvel, though, is 3 dead now for the side of Mont. Make it 4, make it 5. It is a clean wipe for Kings. They can win it yet. 20 seconds to go on this hill. One last stand here for Mont. A few kills starting to head their way as well, so they aren't going to be able to find a break here by the looks of things. 30 seconds to go. Kings still trying to hold on to this. Grizz now on the front line with the R9, and he is just going to try and keep them at bay. He's got Raid alongside of him with 4 seconds to go. The contest is going to come through, but is it going to be enough? With 2 seconds away for Kings, the contest comes through. We go to a rotation of another hill, but Mont are just so far behind here, Bobby. They need to be absolutely perfect. They're the first ones here. Can they make it count?
The Pred misses, but it doesn't even matter. The final kill comes through. Kings, who were at a negative deficit after P2, completely blow that one open. And Mont looked very solid through the first 3 hard points, but after that, it was incredibly one-sided.
It's such a shame, though, because, you know, we spoke about it midway through that map in the sense that Mont have shown up against some of these teams every now and then, but they do it in little spurts, right? It's not coming over the entire course of a map, which is going to hurt them. I mean, looking towards it, they did really have a good start, and I thought, you know, honestly, if the SMGs were able to perform for Mont, they could maybe bring something to the table here, and the SMGs did perform to a certain level. But it's been lacking on the other side of things. Etsy there with the 19. Raid actually didn't pop off as much as you would expect it, but it was the ARs from the side of Kings that really were locking things down. What was the big tell for you there? Because I think for me, a lot of rotations were not going the way of Mont by the looks of things. They did well over towards P2, then to P3 in the first rotation. But when Kings invested everything early doors over towards P3, you were like, oh, okay, well, yeah, okay, that's fine. That's a lot of investment. You're going to get a lot of time here. But Mont just couldn't find that same payback for when they were trying to do it over towards P4. They never found a break. They never really found chains of kills. It feels like the rotations, maybe a little 1-by-1 on occasion, has been the difference between the two teams there, but Kings just punishing them every single time they could.
Yeah, I think Mont play well as a team when they're feeling confident, but it seems like that confidence can dissipate very, very quickly when things aren't going their way, and I think we saw that start to happen pretty heavily after that P3. Once again, the SMG play is going to be crucial, even on a big map like Arsenal, and you had Daytel going double negative with, I think, 17 seconds on the hard point. Like, realistically, that can't happen for your SMGs, and sometimes if your SMGs are getting cooked, it's because the ARs aren't giving them proper support, but sometimes they're just not winning their gunfights, and it seemed like that was a lot of the case, and obviously, naturally, that's going to make it difficult to hold the line, especially with how efficient Kings are with their operator usage.
Yeah, and that really has been one of the big differences we've seen in the European region, specifically and across the board, really. When we're talking about these very, very good teams, you see them at the top, they make sure those operators count every single time. They're pulling them out at the right moments, they're making use of them every single time, and it's just been the hallmark of the good teams. When they do that, they're finding a lot of advantage from it, and they just make it count every single time. Some teams need to brush up on that big time. Anyway, we're going to be heading into a map number 2 in just a second. But what I'm not going to be able to do here in the S&D has notoriously not been that great for them either. We said that the hard points are crucial is maybe harsh, but it feels it, doesn't it? It's one of those times where we feel as if the hard points have to go their way. Or what else are they going to have to hold on to here? Maybe can nick a control, but we don't feel for them in S&D here up against Kings.
Yeah, it's been the one mode that they've struggled with all season long. The Express, maybe the one shining point in this one, in that they have been able to take a map here. But once again, trying to regain off of the devastation that was the back half of that search and destroy is going to be really difficult. Marvel pulling out the Tundra Definitely going to be the new sniper meta in COD Mobile, especially when it comes to search and destroy, but a strong start for Mont right here. Fahim's going to be able to find 2. That leaves Inferno all alone right off the bat right here. Eyes on to 1. He's not going to be able to land the shot onto Etsy, and with them having that information, should be able to close out the round, and Mont do exactly that.
But it's not over yet.
Nice run from Mont. Get aggressive, and often when that hit does come in over towards the B side, it's about who finds that first kill and can then trade from there, get the advantageous position. And Mont were able to find, well, 4 clean ones, which is always a good help. Trophy out this time. Mont now once again hitting down this side on the attacking side of things. First kill's going to go their way again. Etsy will find 1. Will the kill trades train follow in the same direction as it did last time? Looks that way. Fahim finds another hit over towards the B side, and Inferno's left all on his own. This bomb looking like it is going to go down. Etsy just offering his head momentarily. And I don't think he will make that mistake again, as that bomb will now go down. Inferno left now in a 1 versus 3.
Gotta think maybe some adjustments to be made for Kings right here is the butting heads over on the B side strategy not going their way so far. Opportunity for Inferno to find a 1v3, but with those shots landing, that should be the opportunity for Kings to close out the round. Not going to overextend right here. Fahim gets spotted, but there's Lydia with the frag, and just like that, Mont extend out to an early lead. We saw them do this in the hard point. The question is, can they sustain that?
As you say, for Kings here, what's the adaptation? Doesn't seem to be working so far, and well, if it doesn't work once, it doesn't work twice. Let's try the 3rd time. Get first blood this time, though, and are they going to be able to make it count? It is going to be Mont who answer back with 2 of their own. Raiders there to find another, though, and it's now a 3 versus 2. Mont do have some sort of control around where the bomb is. Etsy now backing things up, and it's a good shot into Inferno, now 2 versus 2.
A-side's completely wide open right here. The bad thing is the bomb has to be retrieved if you're going to be able to make that wrap. And it seems like King's at least going to have an idea that they want to apply pressure toward that mid side. So right now, Mont looking to catch one of these Kings players off guard. Raid controlling the mid map, and Marvel just going to keep things locked down with the Tundra in hand. Big opportunity for Etsy, but timing does not go his way. Or maybe it does. Very back and forth between him and Raid, but I'm not sure either player saw the other, and now looking to make the wrap all the way from that spawn side.
Our King's aware of it. Is the information going to be there? They've got to smell like something's up. This is a big wrap from Mont. They still have plenty of time. Lydia here to back it up as well, but Marvel has got irons down on this exact point, and Etsy's just going to have to be so hot with it. Lydia wide peeks it, and the sniper is there to get wiped out. Marvel. The second shot looked absurd from this angle. Big round for Kings to get a hold of on the defensive side. After leaking 2 to kick things off, but now Mont. The game plan hasn't worked 3 times in a row, but we're going to try it the 4th time anyway. Here we go, a big hit over towards the B side. This time around, Kings have not read it whatsoever. They only have 1 player over here, so Mont should be able to establish some good control.
Like seeing the adaptation out of Kings to kind of give up the map control. You have 1 player still overwatching, but Smoke's going to clear room for Inferno. Should have heard Fahim around the corner, but not going to be able to connect on the quick scope. The bomb has been taken down, and Grizz just going to be pesky in that mid building, leaving those Mont players guessing for where they need to find a push to be able to pick up the bomb. Marvel trying to hold off the push from that flank side. Not going to have any angles to work with right here. Fahim looking for a push with the R9 in hand.
Lydia will find Says wanting, can find the shots on the Marvel, or not quite. Very much just gets it done. Fahim now stuck in a bad spot as well. Could do with Lydia helping him out. It's now a 2 versus 2. Raid will back on down. Still a minute to go here for the attacking side, so they can indeed take their time. But they've done so well to find those 2 kills. What was now a 4 versus 2 is now a 2 versus 2.
And Mont, realistically, the biggest issue they've had the last couple of rounds is just the bomb getting down in the worst positions possible and having a difficult route trying to retake. Raid's going to get some big information right there, spotting off 1 player on the backside. You do have Grizz with you, but not really a whole lot of range to work with the weapons that you've got remaining. So a big opportunity for Fahim to try to find a pick right here. They make the wrap toward the bottom of that B side. But once again, Kings not giving up any more information than they need to. They see the nade go through right there, so they know 1 player's pushing, but the R9 is not going to connect. They go 1 for 1 right here. And it's going to be Grizz finding a two-piece as once again Kings find a way to close it out.
Best shotgun player on this side of the Atlantic. I mean, he has no competition. Let's be honest. Grizz absolutely lights out every single time you see him in those positions, and he will find those 2 kills to finish off that attacking round for Mont, which had some promise at one stage, and now they will change things up. It is looking like the hit. Actually looking for some information if he could potentially find it. As Kings now adapting and find themselves over towards the train tracks. They are going to get taken down, so Grizz falls to Fahim. That's a big blood to find, as is that one from JC. Inferno will fall. 5 versus 3 in the favor of Mont. And this bomb should momentarily be going down.
Love the adjustments out of this Mont squad to take that A site and to get Grizz cleared out. That's a pretty big portion of what needs to be done to lock things down right here. So now pressure's on to Says to catch somebody off guard. There's one player on the flank right here. Looks like that's going to be Raid, but he's going to get taken down right there. Fahim caught off guard, but one player should be there to trade. JSay's not going to look to peek, though. Marvel's going to be able to pick up another, and just like that, it's into a 2v2. Lydia's not going to be able to connect, and now it's all down to 1. The 2v5 retake looks like absolutely nothing for Raid or for Says and Marvel, and they take yet another round as Mont completely collapse in that one.
You can't let that happen. You cannot let that happen. Not against Kings. They will not give you many opportunities, and that was indeed one. Mont find the first couple of kills. They find the bomb down. You should have that on complete lock. And Kings just decimate them in every single which way they possibly could have. Grizz and Marvel starting to combine now here for Kings, who found themselves in a lead here for the search and destroy for the very first time. JC and Etsy now left in a 2 versus 4. The shots just aren't hitting. JC can find one. Etsy, though, has got to be dead to rights. JC was able to find one and was able to get himself out, so now finds himself in a 1 versus 3. You've got to still be thinking about that previous round. How on earth did they let that go?
That just absolutely cannot happen. And once again, it comes down to missed opportunities. Etsy could have had 2, maybe 3 kills right there and ends up getting nothing instead. Says gives the information to Inferno. He's going to find another pick, and now that's 4 rounds in a row that have gone the way of Kings. Like we've said, we know they can go toe-to-toe with these top teams. It's just a question of making it happen all the way through a map. And they've never been able to make it happen for more than maybe 5 to 6 minutes at a time before things seem to go wrong in one direction or another. Grizz is going to be there. Finds first blood onto Fahim once again. This should be a complete lockdown on the A side. Daytel looking to apply pressure. Nades over top, and that's going to be 1 kill going through. So an opportunity for Mont to capitalize. Once again, Kings do still have the man advantage, and with Grizz taking down Daytel, that should make for an easy plant onto A.
What does Grizz know that we? That's what I want to know. Absolutely frying, as he has done all season long. 5-2 now to Kings. And one thing I actually really liked what they did there. When they get control of A site, they don't just hit that, they go forward as well. You see immediately Grizz is pushing forward towards the hedges that you see on your screen now, pushing towards the bridge. Just putting that pressure on, just gaining more map control. It felt like when Mont got the bomb down over towards A, it was like, get the bomb down and just sit tight. Sometimes you do need to just take a little bit more of the map that you possibly can at the time. And, well, good shots from Marvel coming on through to find the shot onto Etsy. Daytel, Lydia, all now starting to fall. Kings 2 rounds away. It's looking like it will be 1 after this one. Grizz, again, just catching people out left, right, and center. The fact that he's finding this 10 kills on this map already with a shotgun. Incredible play. JC can't really do a great deal from here. 6-2 to Kings. They're making it look easy.
Mont just not able to. I mean, honestly, they're even making adjustments. They're just getting gunned at every turn. And I think especially when you have somebody like Grizz playing the way that he is, the number of first bloods that he's been able to find on these last, 6 rounds has just been absolutely devastating. He gets taken down right there. That could be the opportunity for Mont to capitalize and finally start to turn things around. Fahim's going to be able to find one for himself as well.
No
and
way.
Raid should be trapped right here. He is indeed now down to Marvel. He's an 0-1v4. He gets shut down. So Mont keep their hopes alive. But yeah, I mean, realistically, you got to get a first blood onto Grizz every single time, it seems, if they want to have that success, and that's a pretty tall task at hand.
And I think when he gets himself in towards Ticket next to B, that's like, it depends if you're on attack or defense. It doesn't really matter, actually. If he's in there, he has control for Kings. And ultimately, Mont don't have the tools to answer. So he's now setting himself up. It's looking like a slow B hit coming in here from Kings. Charles going to come on through here. Fahim will be very, very close, and Says will say no thank you. He's going to start getting chased though. As Daytel will find 1 and 2 Inferno. Will get traded by Raid. Now Says will have to back on down. Kings now forced into a bit of a corner here. Can Mont do much with it?
2 players down for Mont already as Marvel finds one onto Etsy. And that's a surprising miss out of Jay. Should have been free as can be, and with that, Mont not only give away the information, but remain at the disadvantage. Grizz going to be there to collapse, and just like that, only 2 players remain for Mont right here. Grizz does not have to move an inch. It's Mont that have got to make the move as the bomb goes down over here on the A side. What can Fahim and Lydia do in this situation? The flash gives away the information, and with that, that should be all that Kings need to lock this one down, and indeed it is, as they extend out now to the 2-0 lead.
Fantastic work coming in from Kings, but definitely some fumbles coming in from Mont. I think you look at that from a 7-3 scoreline and you say to yourself, we should be at 6-4. It's a lot more of a competitive scoreline. Of course, Kings still very dominant in the rounds that they won, but you have to look back to that 2v5. You can't let it happen. You cannot let that happen at all in any level of Call of Duty, on any device or whatever. That is a criminal loss of a round there from Mont, and they, from there, looked like they were kicking themselves the entire time.
Yeah, and once again, like even that round is a microcosm of the full issue that this Mont squad has faced. Very strong starts that they just simply have not been able to capitalize on. And whether it's a lapse in communication, a lack of confidence, or whatever it is, they've really struggled to close out against these top teams, and now have put themselves in a position where they have to reverse sweep the reigning EU champions if they want to stay in the upper bracket. No surprise to see Marvel and Grizz at the top of the scoreboard right there. They have been 2 absolute rocks for this King squad throughout the season. And man, Mont just simply did not have a response.
It had the makings of a very close search and destroy throughout it though, right? I mean, look, you think about the start from Mont, these rushes were really working out, but the adaptation started coming through from Kings. They started sending more bodies over towards Ticket and just not necessarily going for that headbutt over towards coming down the ramps, of course. And as soon as Grizz was finding himself positions like inside of Ticket with the R-Net, it's just such a difficult thing to try and deal with. But yeah, for Mont, I think the real Inquisition has got to be about that round and how on earth they let that happen, because at that stage you got a very close game, right? You know, I think I want to say it was either a tie up, but okay, well here we go. It says in Marvel, so it was 2-2. You find yourself 3-2 up. You got one more attacking round to come, then you're up on the defensive side. You're like, hey, look, we've got a chance here. But you let that one slip, you only get one more round out of the other 5 that we've seen. Fantastic work coming in from Kings nonetheless. I think, you know, we have to give them credit as well. That 2 versus 5, it doesn't happen without some talented players finding some good shots and some good communication between them. But realistically, Mont should be closing that one out, at least that round, to make it more of a competitive search and destroy. So now they're heading into a control 2-0 down. What's the game plan? Because, you know, and I think this is why we sometimes get frustrated with Mont, is that you are totally right. We see moments of like, these are easily a top 4 team, they could contest, but we see it 15% of the time, I want to say, and maybe the push. So the talent is there. So is it communication? What do you think they're doing right? It's got to be comms, right? Because the talent seems to be there. The understanding seems to be there.
Yeah, and that's something that we've seen with a lot of teams that have been kind of fringe at the top, the teams that have been in our 5th or 6th place. Like, they have the players that are capable of making big plays, but for whatever reason, they seem to fall apart. And obviously, we don't hear the comms, so it's not something we can necessarily speak to. But for the most part, whether it's comms, whether it's chemistry, usually there's something behind the scenes that's happening that's causing those teams to fumble. So I don't know if it's maybe Mont do need to try bringing in Kirby if they do head to the lower bracket and see if that is enough to give them a chance in this one, but definitely seems like some type of change needs to be made, especially given that there's only 1 spot in Sao Paulo for EU. They've definitely got to lock in right here and at least show that they've got what it takes to make a competitive control map, but Raid's doing his darndest to make sure that does not happen.
Good wipe coming on through already from Kings, and this could be very, very ugly if Mont get themselves caught. And thing is, for Mont here, you're pushed over towards that B side after you just lost every single gunfight. You are walking into aiming down sights players from the side of Kings. Grizz now inside of the garage, and he has a shotgun. It is not a good position for him to be in, but Daystell's going to win a gunfight he probably shouldn't have against Says. So is that going to be a momentary break for Mont? It's looking like no. I'd have loved for them just to give it up and head over towards A, but they're still going over towards B. Bobby, it's just a dangerous place to be.
JSA is going to be able to get on the objective and deals with that respawn sniper, so opportunity for them at least to get a little bit more time to work with right here. They've allowed Raid all the way through to Red Room, though. He is going to get traded out, so once again, they've got that real estate and should be able to lock things in right here, but that life lead has already formed. 2 players get taken down, and this is far from locked in right here. JSA's got to do all the work. He does the opening damage, but he's going to get taken down as well, and Mont just very one-dimensional in this push. We've not seen a single look over toward that A side.
Just headbutt after headbutt over towards this B side. And when the life count counter shows you how different it has been on one side of this. My God, the shots coming in from Says with the grout. Just not much Mont could do. 17 versus 4 here, and again, I think that's it's just a recipe for disaster when you keep pushing over towards this B side. Yes, okay, they will eventually get it locked in, but you can see at what cost at the top of your screen. They are 15 lives, about to be 16 and behind as the round ends. Kings 1-0 up in dominant fashion.
I mean, with the number of times that Brody has said on broadcast the exact thing that these teams need to do on offense on Raid, it's inexcusable that Mont don't throw a single look toward A side that entire time. Obviously,
just to let up some tension.
Yeah, like it just makes it so easy and predictable for these Kings players, especially with the gunnies that they've got to just completely tear you to pieces. And just like that, they're going to find 5 kills off the start of this one. Grizz finally gets shut down, and a couple trades do go the way of Mont, but you've allowed so much map pressure over toward this objective that now you got some of the operators coming into play. Mont are going to be able to wipe off some progress. JSA going to call in the War Machine right here. But once again, not really an opportunity to make anything out of it, as you do see that adjustment out of Kings. They put some pressure over toward the A side.
Yeah, it's exactly why. Look, you've seen that Mont got control. They found those kills close towards the laundry side. So they're going to have a lot of good control over towards B. So what you do is you don't go there. I mean, you can break it from the middle of the map. Even if you're going to exactly where Raid is in Garden here, that's a different push that you can try and make. It isn't one-dimensional, and now all of a sudden you're being pushed back over towards the A side. If you want, have you adapted enough to go on the defensive side here with the equalizer mid-map? Etsy will find them, so a bit of a waste coming in from Raid, but is the damage potentially already done? It's an 8-life deficit. 2 ticks in over towards the A side here for Kings. It could well be 3 in just a second as the kills continue to flow.
Say's just not missing a bullet on any of these growl sprays that we're seeing. Inferno does get taken down right there, so once again, Mont keep it alive as they get A cleared off, but still that pressure toward the B side will keep them guessing. Grizz going to be able to take down another, and now the bigger issue is that life disparity as Mont find themselves down 8 with only 1 tick of progress remaining on both. Grizz cannot be touched in the close range. Another one for him. That's going to be 3, make it 4. Hunter Killer has been earned. 2 lives remain, and this round is all but over for this Mont squad. 1v10. That last objective tick has been locked in, and Raid's going to be able to find Fahim as now Kings 1 control round away from locking in a spot in Winners Finals.
Grizz only finding 9 kills is the biggest surprise that I've actually seen, to be honest with you, after what we just seen there. 3 out of nothing to lock B in, and the second round with it. Now for Kings, onto the defensive side, and for Mont. Again, you head over towards B. Says has whipped out the War Machine and pretty much ended your hopes of this round, you would think. Grizz now putting the pressure on. The Sparrow is out. The pressure continues to be put down onto Mont. Now, what's the play? Can Mont adapt? Can they change things around here? This moment in time, it's looking like Kings have just got real estate completely locked down across the entire map right now. A couple of kills coming through, though. Mont will find something due to some investment. Fahim will pull out the Annihilator, and B will be broken, but this is the biggest opportunity that Mont have had in the 3 rounds that we've seen so far.
Right now, they need Daytel to go big with the equalizers, but there's Grizz. He counters with the R9, and once again, the value is completely lost. And with that, now there's an opportunity to set up the spawn trap on the inside of Garage. It is going to be one player taken down for Kings. And it is honestly not the end of the world for Mont, as you don't give up that many lives off of it. Maybe King's a little too hyper-focused on that spawn trap. They give up the B objective, and Mont have been able to keep the lives close in this one. So with the fact that Kings don't have any operators right here, maybe an opportunity for them to apply some pressure toward that A side, but they have not had any success on this side so far on this map. They have got to deal with that mid-map pressure, but with Raid getting taken down right there, Marvel's the last line of defense, and he's going to get taken out. So now an opportunity for Mont to get some players stacked onto this objective.
Oh, is it going down to Grizz? Yeah, he was actually inside the Tiki. He gets taken down pretty quickly. Etsy will find a second, so opportunity is here, and as soon as you come away from the aim down sights for Inferno, get some terrible timing, and all of a sudden, there's a bit of control here for Mont. 9 versus 9 in terms of the lives. JC and Lydia starting to combine here as well, and that time is just going to start ticking up very, very quickly. If King's got an answer, can they find a break back?
They don't really have any map control right here with players locking down the top side. Mont should be able to find these kills, but they can't make anything out of it. Inferno Claw not going to connect right there. Doesn't have an angle onto Daytel in the low ground, but he peeks out anyway. It's a 4v4 right here. Not a lot of time. If you're Mont, you got to slow things down right here and see if you can find some picks. Inferno picks up the sniper and takes down one. Another for Grizz, and now into the 2v3 for Mont.
Where is the route through? 53 seconds. If Mont want to stay in the winner's bracket, they need to do something with this 2 versus 3. It's the biggest opportunity they've had this entire map. Looks like a pick through mid. Could be the play. They do have time. Kind of turns into a game of search and destroy, if you like. 30 seconds. The adaptation, though, seems to have been read. Inferno will find Lydia. And all of a sudden, Etsy is left all on his own. 23 seconds to do something. He's making a lot of noise, and Inferno knows exactly where he is. Stamps it in for Kings. It's a 3-0 in the control, 3-0 in the series. They will move on to the winners bracket final.
And once again, Mont showing they can play closely with these top teams. And even coming into that round, they didn't have much of an advantage. They didn't even throw any good looks toward the pool side, and they were still very, very close to taking that round, but just tiny errors toward the end of that one. I think a lot of it was like, you got them in 10 seconds on the clock. You've got 4 lives remaining. You don't have to push up, play with the time that you have, but King's able to make them pay off of those mistakes. And they will take the round and the series right there. And as expected, they lock in a spot at the bare minimum of the top 3.
Just a really good performance. I think, you know, they potentially came out a tiny bit cold at the beginning of the hard point and the search and destroy, but after that, I mean, just so dominant from start to finish, and just, I mean, I just don't know who's going to stop them. I mean, it's definitely not going to be Mont if they keep playing like that, because there was so many opportunities for them to do things that, I mean, could have potentially done something, you know, especially the search and destroy. You think of the S&D round, you think of the control round we just had there, the start of the hard point. There was sprinkles of hope every now and then, but not enough to formulate anything, really, unfortunately, for the side of Mont.
Yeah, we were saying in the green room that, you know, this is just kind of like Mont. You know, they have these starts where they can start really well against these teams and seem competitive at first, and then the game kind of slips away from them in the latter stages, and that was true for the hard point where they started off competitive, and I think Kings just started to run away with the game in the second half, and then it was certainly true in the search and destroy where there were a few rounds, certainly a couple at the beginning, where they looked like, hey, this is a brand new Mont in search and destroy, and then they just began to make mistakes like that 2 versus 5. Kings just looking as good as ever. They are so dominant, and it just doesn't even, arguably that was a worse series for Mont against Kings than the last one, so it may be improvements to Kings.
I mean, Mont not down and out yet. Obviously, we mentioned it at the beginning of the show. That means that they will be dropping down into the lower bracket, so they'll still have an opportunity to play up against whoever is the loser of our next match coming up around the corner. You'll see that reflected here in our bracket as we take a look at it. Kings making their way through now to that upper bracket final, which we'll see later on today once we get a winner out of this Omniscient versus Exclusive matchup. I think probably what we expected, but even if you're saying they had a worse match against Kings specifically, we definitely saw some improvements on behalf of Mont as well. Maybe they can carry those into their next matchup against whoever they have to face off next.
I mean, look, they put themselves in good spots, and I think that's the thing that is so frustrating. I mean, Bobby were just speaking about it there, in the sense of that you do see every now and then these moments of, oh, okay, yeah, they know exactly what they're doing. They do have the talent, but then that's like 20% of the game, and the other 80% they're just running around like headless chickens, and it's hard to sometimes figure out what's really going on. So they just need to start piecing it together a little bit more, but they need to pretty quickly, to be honest with you.
They can take some notes during our next matchup and see how things go there. But before we get into match number 2 on the day, it's time for us to send it to a short break, give our casters a little bit of relief, bring in our new one, and when we return, Omniscient versus Exclusive. So don't go anywhere. You're watching the Snapdragon Pro Series.
Welcome to the place where dreams come true, where everything you want can be yours, if and only if you're willing to work for them, you're willing to hurt for them, but most of all, you're willing to be first for them. Look, I'm going straight to the top. I don't know how I would stop, like it or not. I got some goals that I'm hitting. You hear what I'm spitting? It's hot. Look what I got. Whole lot of passion and pain. The road to success is insane. Stay out my lane, cause I'm on a mission. I'm getting what stands in my way. Yeah, I'm a beast. I wouldn't play with me, baby. The way that I'm training is crazy, and I do it daily. You wanna talk about drive? I got more drive than Mercedes. I've never been lazy. I'm in the room, it's a red alert. You wanna compete? Well, get better first. I got 10 toes in the dirt, push through the hurt just to show them my worth. I'm the best. Yeah, I'm the best. I never stress. I know what's next. I'm who they test, like we playing chess. But I'm unimpressed, so now let me flex. Yeah, I'ma work through the struggle and hurt, cause I know my worth, and I gotta be first. Yeah, I gotta be first. Look, I don't want anyone's sympathy. I understand what it's meant for me. I give my focus and energy. If it's meant to be, then it's meant to be. But mentally, I'm undefeated. They hear that and say I'm conceited. Like there's no reason. Like I don't beat them and come back again just to teach them that when you work under pressure, you reach higher measures. They'll try and bring you down, but you cannot let them, and only get better and focus on cheddar. Eye on the prize and you'll become a legend. Like when I'm in the room, it's a red alert. You wanna compete? Well, get better first. I got 10 toes in the dirt, push through the hurt just to show them my worth. I'm the best. Yeah, I'm the best. I never stress. I know what's next. I'm who they test, like we playing chess. But I'm unimpressed, so now let me flex. Yeah, I'ma work through the struggle and hurt, cause I know my worth, and I gotta be first. Yeah, I gotta be first. They don't know what's gotten into me, how'd I turn pain into energy. Through all the struggle and hurt, remember my worth, and that's why I gotta be first.
The Snapdragon Pro Series powered by Samsung Galaxy is brought to you by Snapdragon Elite Gaming, Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra, Monster Energy, and DHL.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the Snapdragon Pro Series, where match number 1 is done, and it was Kings that came out on top in 3-0 fashion, moving their way on in that upper bracket, whereas Mont have now dropped down to the lower bracket, waiting to see which team will be facing off against them down there tomorrow. I'm Glitter Explosion. We're back here in the studio, but we've got a new addition. So before we talk about match number 2, let's give Connie a welcome to the studio. First time on the show with us. How are you feeling?
Well, thanks so much for having me. Pleasure to be here again. ESL Snapdragon Pro Series. Of course, some stellar games on today so far, and we just watched what looked to be the most convincing team in the tournament so far, prove why the most convincing team in the tournament so far. Overall, though, good vibes all round.
Now, did you get a chance to maybe catch up on anything in the season so far? What have your impressions been on the region?
In terms of Europe itself, there's only really 2 teams that strike out to me, Exclusive and Kings. Kings so far haven't really been dethroned at all. Winners of the last season, and the more or less times you see these teams face against each other, you do pin them to as the main candidates.
Yeah, well, we'll have to see then what your second main candidate can do. Obviously, match number 2 coming up right around the corner. You guys saw it on the schedule earlier. It's now going to be Omniscient versus Exclusive for our second upper bracket semifinal match. This should be a really good one, Bobby.
Yeah, I think depending on which Omniscient we see show up, it could definitely be really competitive. It's just a very big if, and that was not something we really expected coming off the beginning of the season with how closely they played up against Kings, but when we saw them go up against Exclusive, it got ugly very, very quickly.
Yeah, I just think that's funny because that's exactly what we said last time. It's the exact same conversation we had last time these two teams played. So I'm like, yeah, this is going to be a great match. Can't wait for a super competitive series. And then Exclusive just wiped them out in the very first map. So, yeah, I think Bobby's right. I think this depends on what Omniscient we're going to see. Theoretically speaking, I think the big thing for being of Omniscient is this roster should have got better with the change they made in the middle of the season. When they brought balance on side, I thought, yeah, right, this is going to be a great change for the roster and it's going to improve them. And for whatever reason, they seem to have been kind of trending downwards to the point where we got to see them go head-to-head with Exclusive, and it was a blowout all around. We need to see that Kings versus Omniscient coming out to play today. If we don't, they're going to struggle, and their shot at Masters is going to go down the drain.
Well, of course, you're absolutely right there. I think earlier on we were speaking about the likes of all 4 teams remaining in this tournament. Exclusive do hold a lot of power. Omniscient are probably the closest shot, of actually challenging for a top 2 spot, especially with their, sort of history of these 2 teams coming into this. I think that Exclusive do staple out to me as one of the more elite caliber teams, but you can't really go against, Omniscient in most parts.
After the performance that we saw last time, like you guys are mentioning, between Exclusive and Omniscient, in the event that the mistakes we saw last time around in that matchup were tweaked in the 2 weeks that they've now had post-season into finals, do you think that there's a shot for Omniscient here?
I think there absolutely is. I think my other concern is the fact that probably everybody on that Omniscient squad has some sort of PTSD from last challenge season playoffs, because everybody on that squad was on a top 2 team that then proceeded to get knocked out and not qualify for Stage 5. So they've definitely got the talent. It's just a question of execution. As far as Exclusive, they're easily the most improved team in EU, I would say, since last challenge season. Obviously, a lot of that courtesy of the amount of practice that they got going up against top teams from all these different regions. And they've definitely shown out. The addition of Spy has looked super, super solid. Obviously, questions about whether or not he's going to be starting, but when he has started, they've looked very, very solid, I think, especially in that matchup up against Omniscient.
Yeah, that's a really good point, and I think it's a question going into this matchup because they've been experimenting with the roster for the last couple of games. Spy came out to play, I think, versus Kings, and I think for good reason, because obviously there's that kind of history there to be had. But he wasn't playing, I think, during the last match. They brought Creed on instead versus Omniscient. So again, I don't know what roster we're going to see here, and I think it is going to play a factor in whether or not Omniscient have a chance. Honestly, I'm not even entirely convinced on what the best configuration for this roster is at this point. So I'm definitely curious to see kind of what Exclusive we get versus Omniscient. Maybe it'll benefit them.
All right, well, we'll find out which players are playing as the last piece of the puzzle to when it comes to talking about this match. Before we do that, though, we'll also get those picks and bans up here on the screen. Start to see what our teams are bringing to the table if things are kind of working in Omniscient's favor or Exclusive kicking things off with the Hacienda hard point here, Connie?
I think in terms of the actual caliber and sort of what needs to happen here, I think these videos in particular are going to be key to Omniscient. The better picks they have, again, it gives them that little bit of edge over Exclusive because they're coming in with all the power, all the privileges. So really, I think from time now, from round 1 to this stage, you want to look out for just how smart they've been with the veto picks and what they can get, not what they should get.
Yeah, and these are smart veto picks as well for the most part. Maybe not the map 1 Hacienda.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
But the Search and Destroy. We'll get to the Search and Destroy. The map 1 Hacienda is a bit of a question mark for me. Maybe they feel like they just made some very clear fundamental errors in the way that they played it, and they can just play it again. It's a massive risk. I guess, to be fair, it is still one of Omniscient's best hardpoint maps, so I'm not that surprised to see it again, but it's going to be an interesting kind of process to see whether or not it's going to be the same kind of story for that. For the Search and Destroy, at the very least, we're not going to see a fire and range Search and Destroy, which was the Search and Destroy map where we saw Exclusive completely blow Omniscient out. So there's that, and I believe we also get the standoff control from that series too. So a couple of maps returning for this one.
Yeah, the Hacienda hardpoint is definitely going to give Omniscient a little bit of PTSD. But once again, if it's made its way through to the map pool, then they've got to feel confident enough that they've made improvements, or maybe it was just a rough map for them, and that's something that we've seen happen for a lot of these teams. Like, it's not necessarily that they're bad on a given map, it's just the snowball got so severe that they weren't able to regain off of it. So I am curious to see if they can find a way through on that one. You would have to think that Exclusive are feeling pretty confident with this map pool, because Summit's one of their better maps as well. So if they handle business in the hard point, that only leaves one more map that they got to take care of business on. Definitely a tough road to victory for Omniscient.
All right, well, for now, I will send you two off to the other half of the studio to get yourselves set up for your first time casting together on the SPS. All right, Bobby, final thoughts on how this matchup can go now that we know those the map vetoes.
I just hope that we see a different Omniscient from what we had last time. And we know that they're capable of doing big things. We saw what they could do up against Kings. It was a different roster from what has become their main roster, but regardless, I think this is a team that pretty much everybody on that roster has yet to live up to the expectations that have been set for them as far as their performances in major tournaments. So I'm hoping to see a good matchup out of this one. I definitely don't want to see 2 3-0s in the playoffs to get things started.
All right, well, let's see what both of these teams can bring to the table. We'll send it on over to Brody and Connie to get into match number 2.
Thank you so much, Lauren. Yeah, this is going to be a great matchup here between these two teams. Again, we did say that last time around, though, so who knows whether we'll actually be right this time. Exclusive versus Omniscient. Omniscient are going to be out for blood because the way that they started this season was significantly different from where we left them at the end of the challenge season. Connie, though, we've got a Hacienda hardpoint kick off this best of 5. What are we thinking?
Well, I mean, as I mentioned before on the desk, it was an interesting one. You both agreed. I mean, in terms of vetoes that we brought up over there, I mentioned Omniscient have to play it careful and they have to be strategic. Again, map 1, you want to have the leverage, you want to have continuation in your play. But again, we're in a portion now where there's more pressure added to these teams. So we do hope, though, when it comes to Omniscient, they do have the power to continue on to do something special.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Omniscient, we've seen them play well on this map before. We're not going to see it just yet because the players are leaving the game. So that means we have to be back to us here for a second. We'll get into the game in just a second, folks. We won't be tickling you for that long. That being said, I think this is still going to be difficult regardless for Omniscient. I think, you know, we've discussed quite a lot about kind of where Omniscient are strongest so far this season. And the vast majority of that conversation has always been around their control. It has never really been around their hard point. I think the hard points that they've won for the most part have been closer hard points more often than not. And I think we compare that to Exclusive, a roster that is very strong in hardpoint, very clearly strong in hardpoint. I think they've got the #1 differential across the entirety of the European region. And that's despite having, I think, a worse record on the whole than Kings, obviously, given the fact that they lost a second hardpoint to Kings there. So it's going to be an uphill battle to start this series from Omniscient. I think for me, if anything, even if they lose this first map, which I don't necessarily think is guaranteed to happen, I want it to be close. I don't want them to kind of snowball out of the series like they did last time around.
Absolutely, and there is going to be some sort of differentiation to that, and it really comes down to how much practice they've had, how much time they had to sort of read the game ahead. You do look towards the time away from the game, the VOs, the VOD review, the actual time to look for all sorts of different strategy. That really is going to be where Omniscient do stand a chance. Exclusive, though, I really think when it comes to the hard points you mentioned again, there's no real quirks in that. The controls though for both teams, if that really is going to be sort of a spin and really different for either or, let's really see what happens.
Yeah, for sure. As I said, when we get further and further into this series, I think I'm curious to see what Omniscient we're going to get. If they lose the hard point, can they recover? Because obviously we go back towards the search and destroy and the control in the last best of 5, and it was not positive for Omniscient whatsoever. Honestly, on the whole, I'm kind of floored at the difference in Omniscient that we've had this season so far. To compare that very first matchup versus Kings, which was an exciting affair, I think, for us casters, just to open the season in a very competitive way like that, I think was promising that we might have a really competitive kind of fight for the spots for Mobile Masters. And then to see the end for Omniscient where, you know, they were kind of floundering versus Exclusive in that matchup, in that 3-0. And they were even, I mean, they 3-0'd Mont, but the maps were close. It feels like a very, two different Omniscient. So I'm curious to see which one we're going to get today. But I think really on the whole here, Connie, we've been talking a lot about these teams, about kind of the 2 weeks off that they've had. I would like to have hoped at least that Omniscient will take those 2 weeks to actually make the improvements they need to and make sure they don't do what they did in those last 2 matches.
Yes, it's important as well to delete the mindset they had as well from 2 weeks ago. When it comes to game days again, you might get teleported back into the state of being afraid and panicking on the map. Really, it shouldn't be the case. You have to make sure, again, everything's locked down, you have full control of your own senses, and your game plan is set from the go.
Alrighty, well, it's time, folks. Hopefully a more competitive game this time around between Omniscient and Exclusive, but we shall see. Last time around, I believe it was a 252-44 scoreline. One of the most indomitable hard points we've seen the entirety of the season thus far. Connie, we're hoping for a more competitive game this time around.
Absolutely. Both teams right now fighting for control. Thus far, Exclusive are getting time on the board. With 45 seconds left, you really want to make sure, again, that you're playing around the hill and making sure your slayers are getting activated. Again, spawns thus far aren't favoring Omniscient, and Exclusive now are just sponging time, getting control where it needs to be done.
This is a lot of time you're giving away to Exclusive here on P1 for Omniscient. Do what you can to try and find your way through towards P2. Filla's going to be the only one on Omniscient at the moment finding a kill, and that's towards the middle of P1, and it's not even going to be that much control. But at the very least, Exclusive do push through towards P1. It gives control of the spawns for Omniscient for the next hill, but they have to be careful that they don't lose them. You need to make sure you're prepared for all of those players starting to push through. Neil gets a crucial gunfight in his favor, but Connie, his job is not done yet. He ends up falling down to Saturn's, and actually, okay, this is fine for Omniscient at this point to start the game.
Omniscient, thus far again, win rotation, keep most of the control, but again, they're going to really want to fence off these players, create a suffocation period where the likes of Exclusive can't seem to get into the hill. Already it's a frontal assault, the confidence is there, but still players from Omniscient look to maintain lead. But a nice pinch coming in from Veer as well does make the back spawns a little bit more contested. Still, though, fights are happening all around the map.
Yeah, for sure. You've got to be careful about number 1 on the minimap. That was Veer, as you said, who does actually end up going down. It's a big pick coming out from Lucky. Now, the offense around the front. Can Exclusive find their way through? Spy finds the double. Now looking for more spies, lining them up, and he's knocking them down. 3 in a row for him. And Exclusive now find their way through. Omniscient continue to spawn around the back.
Caesar again, very careful. All yellow in a kill feed for Exclusive thus far, but still in contention for the last 30 seconds. Now we're looking really towards Omniscient how they want to play around this. Very close game thus far, only 15 points between the 2 teams. But realistically, they have to fight again for control. The third hill here really is going to start to swing the sort of needle in favor of either team, especially now when you are looking at all these players now again, like Veer, constantly hitting the wide flanks, getting rotation first where it needs to be done.
For sure. Well, pretty close game between these 2 teams at the moment. Again, Omniscient are swiftly approaching the scoreline that they managed versus Exclusive last time around, so better hard point, I think, on the whole, for sure. But we look towards the rotation. Omniscient, can they break through? Spy causing a bit of hassle through the middle of the map. Finally goes down to Omniscient, who are now approaching around the backline. Gefilla finds what is his umpteenth free-piece this game so far. 9 kills is having a pretty good game to start off, but is it enough to actually break on towards the hill here, Connie? Because Exclusive, they are still in, they're still being annoying, but now we're starting to see some of these operators come into play.
I know, utilities and score streaks now really are keeping Exclusive thus firmly in the hill. Omniscient now are still fighting for contention. They have positioning and pathing to run on there and overwhelm the gunfights, but the weaponry just isn't there. It's Exclusive. It's always been Exclusive thus far, again, in the first sort of portions of this game.
Oh, Creed is just destroying them now, mate. Oh my goodness me. Creed's still going as well. That is 6 for Creed, and that is a perfect read of the spawns as well coming out from Creed. And that is often the difference between the best and the rest here in Call of Duty Mobile is usage of those operators. And Creed right now on 14 kills is showing just what can happen when you've got a powerful one like that in your hands. So Exclusive at the back of the hill now, starting to pull away somewhat from Omniscient, Con. And you've got to imagine here that this rotation towards New becomes all the more paramount. Predator missile coming down from Creed. That's going to take down balance. And I say Lucky and Saturn's in for a potential pinch play coming through. What can Veer produce? He finds one. Saturn's with the equalizer. You need to find some value here, and he goes down as well. Rasmo's going to invest the Sparrow. This is a big investment coming out from Omniscient. They know how important control on this hill is.
45 seconds left. They've got all the time to work with here, and every single crossfire, every single choke point locked off. Fantastic Call of Duty thus far. And still dominating the feed, still maintaining the aggression as well to flip spawns. But these splits here might cause an issue, because now you've got to divert attention to the backside of the map and really create these spots where you can't let players through and absorb time or even contest it. Right now, Omniscient are in control.
Yeah, I'm not going to see now Claw investment coming out from Gifilla as well. Omniscient, again, this has been a big investment so far in this hill, and it's actually converting to some time at the very least to keep themselves competitive with exclusive. Maybe not as much time as they would like, but it is time nonetheless that is keeping them in this game. And at the end of the first set here, we're going to see Omniscient just about right behind exclusive. Saturns wants to take a couple of players down. He wants some of that scrap time. And yeah, 9 points the difference now between these two teams as we go into the second set. On the whole, Connie, Omniscient have been a lot better.
I know, 5 hills, neither team has crossed 100 points yet. A very close game from the rip. We love to see this, especially when Omniscient now are actually still applying the same front push they had in the first few minutes of the game. Where exclusive, though, are still in time and still spawning out with no real player advantage thus far. It really will be sort of a hot potato for this hill.
Yeah, for sure. Should be worth noting that exclusive did get a fair amount of time off P1 last time around. It wasn't that much of a difference between these two teams, but it was a difference nonetheless. And exclusive are actually investing operators into this one. The Claw to garner quite a bit of time here, and I think actually, if anything, it's not necessarily to garner this time, but to garner the map control of the spawns for P2. They are currently under siege, though. 3 players making their way through that side of the map here, and a blue kill feed to boot. This is good for Omniscient here as Balance finds the double. Not only do they take the scrap time away from exclusive, but they get control of the P2 rotation. They're already under siege, though. Creed now starting to make his way forward. Veer finds one. Exclusive, they're knocking at the door.
I know, right now, again, exclusive, they've got 1 player in garage. Omniscient want a frontal assault here, but the players, they're pathing, they're just playing in sort of sections. They're stagnant around the map. Spawns though in the backside are so least beneficial for Omniscient.
Yeah, Omniscient approaching now from the side of the map. Balance going to use the War Machine here. It's kills coming through from Omniscient, so they're now going to take the lead away from these exclusive players. But again, these spawns have been so back and forth here in this game, and once again, it is now exclusive trying to make their way up the driveway, but the car won't start. Balance now looking for these kills inside the stairwell. He's going to go down Creed. He's going to use the War Machine, and that's 3 successive kills coming out for exclusive. They want this back 30 seconds, and they are investing heavily for it. Going to the melee is Creed for these kills. Gifilla will deny. Can Gifilla find any more? No, is the answer. They are fighting tooth and nail for this scrap time. Omniscient, they're going to give it one last little look. Rasmo and Gifilla with his pinstripe kill feed trying to get control of it, but these exclusive players are being so annoying, and Caesar is one of those with the double. That's going to give that scrap time to exclusive, and they might actually have the rotation too.
They have indeed. Omniscient have no chance there of spawning close. Spy played it beautifully. They'll have the rotation to new and control the kill feed as well. It will at least be now an instance where Omniscient have to start grouping together, making these crossfires activate. They need to find a way to really aggress through together, collectively with the utility and the score streaks available, but still exclusive are just maintaining this pressure. They're keeping it in a constant state of threat.
Yeah, this is not good now for Omniscient. They do not have control of the hill. Exclusive now going to utilize the Sparrow. It's Caesar towards the backline, who does actually get shut down by Gifilla. So not all is lost just yet, especially as Lucky gets another kill. Hold your horses for a second here, folks, but it's Spy with the equalizers. He's probably the biggest problem at the moment for Omniscient. They need to take him down, and they do. Veer on the other side, though, now going to utilize the Annihilator as well. This is a big investment coming out from exclusive. They know this is the opportunity to take this game away from Omniscient, to start to create a real gap between these two teams, but they just can't convincingly do it. They do get away with gunfights, but Omniscient continue to send players at the point, and finally, as Saturns goes down, that is a convincing 40 points there for exclusive that will give them an advantage over Omniscient.
Omniscient have more players on time, but still a split spawn causes a weird array of players. They're going to be head on here, trying to gain control. But again, it's important that Omniscient need to get this time and maintain control of the choke points. The more they have, the better it's going to be. But again, it comes down to how much utility you got, your score streak usage. Exclusive still have got a lead on them, but Omniscient are playing this hill much better, and they're reading the spawns as well, Brody.
Yeah, Omniscient doing a really good job at the moment at keeping these guys at bay. They know how these spawns work for this hardpoint. You know you're fighting a war on two fronts, but they might find themselves overwhelmed if they're not careful, and that's what's happening. Spino trying to make his way through. He's going to get shut down after finding one. Spawns coming through from the P2 side from Omniscient means that players inside the kill won't be alone, but Exclusive will continue to hit this time and time again. Double investment coming out from Omniscient. It's the Annihilator. It's Saturn's here with the equalizers, and Lucky with the Annihilator is going to find 4. How on earth is that happening? And Omniscient here, a much more convincing P5 this time around. Exclusive now about to lose control of this game.
Really to find their footing. Exclusive will sacrifice 10 seconds for a rotation, but look at this again, they're flooding mid. There are players there playing the choke points all around the extremities, and they're reading spawns too. Now for the first time in this match, Omniscient will take full control. Neither team will touch point initially, but they want to play for the kills. They want to get at least pressure reads and getting any sort of allocation of time. Right now, Omniscient are doing everything they can, despite the kill feed being split, despite the players objectivizing all around. And now as Omniscient take full control, they will slowly start getting time.
Yeah, Omniscient here in control of this game for the very first time, but now can they take the lead and take this game running? Exclusive not in control just yet of P1. Omniscient doing a real and good job at keeping control of the upstairs hallways. Exclusive, though, do have players in currently soaking up some time. One of those players is going to be Spy. What can he get done here? Shaky shots at first. He does find one, but not convincing enough to hold out for a second kill. So Omniscient still pressurizing kill, still being annoying, and that is a wave of gunfights that will force Exclusive to spawn up over it by New. And if I'm Exclusive here, I don't put too much into this, Connie.
I know. Omniscient crossing 200 points here. We're now in closing territory. One more hill, one more hold, and they got it converted. But now it's a foot race. Exclusive now spawning on the north side of the map. Slowly again, your first points of contact in Saturn here. Have to get the read of kills, have to read the players coming through, because that's where Exclusive can find time and the pressure needed.
Exclusive around the back line. Neil's going to find that first crucial kill. Nobody from Omniscient just yet making their way around the back line, but it's going to be a streak coming out here to remove one of the players inside the spawn. You need to have the follow-up gunfights, and that frankly is just not happening though. Creed with the War Machine once again has been absolutely stellar for Exclusive so far. Now he needs to go big. And this is going to be an amazing finish, perhaps here from Exclusive, as now more operators coming out here, Connie. They're still in control.
I know. 2 more players there pushing the front. Omniscient, though, need a read. As cruise missiles fall down, it's going to be an all-yellow kill feed. Exclusive just about taking time here. Can't win off this hill. Needs to make sure, again, they've got the read coming in for the pressure. As, again, it's still Omniscient, still fighting from the front side. Creed, though, has any bit of information needed to try and get it under control. This is Omniscient's game. Exclusive have got full control. They're just playing corner to corner, wall-to-wall gunfights. Anything you need, they have. And it's just simply effective. Maybe one last break attempt can do it. But rotation's going to come in, and Neil is already there.
Yeah, it's a phenomenal hold coming out from Exclusive. Probably one of the most convincing they've had so far this game, and what a time to do it as well. Omniscient now, what do they have to work with for the break towards New? They've got a couple of operators on side for Rasmo and Lucky, but there are also 2 to talk of on Exclusive side as well. A couple of extra bullets in the body there from Creed. Now, what can Caesar get done? It's 3 in the feed coming out from Exclusive, but Rasmo, one of the players that we were talking about from Omniscient, he had the Sparrow, and he gets shut down now. Can anybody from Omniscient make it towards the kill in time? Gefiller, the only one with a kill. Balance, just going to be on the other side of a smoke, trying to play his life perfectly here to keep himself inside the kill. Waste some time for the rest of the team to get their way through. Ekvir, the only one to say something about it, he gets shut down.
Omniscient, they hold on for dear life. 4 points, Exclusive have got the map. But 30 seconds, this hold is doable. Smokes do go down, but rotation is the next question. Let's say if this is held. Exclusive have got a foot race to the next hill, but fights are still going down from the front side.
Gefiller going to use his claw. Neil right back at him, though. He's going to find the double. Is it good enough? No, it's not. Omniscient still holding on here. Saturn's is very weak, and Fear's going to find the double. They just need 4 seconds. Can anybody from Omniscient touch in time? No, they cannot. And while it might well be a closer game this time around, Exclusive come out on top once more. 250 to 236. An incredibly close affair, and much better from Omniscient, but not good enough.
We talked about how these 2 teams come into this first map at least fighting and swinging. That right there, Brody, we just saw a street fight happen in front of our very eyes. It was at least a 5-point game for every hill, but in the end, we just saw an overload of players from Exclusive. Omniscient managed to get it done, but still, I think the utility usage as well, and the like of Rasmo and the Sparrow, a key highlight.
Yeah, for sure. I think you talk about utility usage, you talk about Creed with that War Machine, the amount of times that he came to play, I think probably the most memorable moment in that game, even early on, was Exclusive. It was Creed with that War Machine. Machine getting 6 in a row towards offense's hardpoint. In the end, it contributes to what is a 43-kill game for him. And yeah, Exclusive just looking so good. I will say though, on the whole, I mentioned it there towards the end of the game, that was much better for Omniscient comparatively to what we saw in the first Hassie and a hardpoint between these two teams, where Exclusive just got control of rotations time and time again, where they definitively shouldn't have done. This time around, Omniscient, I think, were much more on their toes in terms of what those rotations were looking like, in terms of what the spawn control looked like.
I think they have more cohesion as well in those hectic moments. We saw moments where they were trying to break on hill, regain control. They had 3 players at hand here, and even at times, they were winning 3v4 gunfights head on for the hill. Trust as well, when you saw Exclusive calling a utility in barrages, they were not phased. That really is going to be crucial as well into the latter rounds, because again, you mentioned just how in control Exclusive were at the start. Omniscient just started creeping up. They really started getting a good feel for it. And when it came down to the hectic last moments, a few players on that side really came up to the call and really did it justice.
Yeah, for sure. The one thing I will say about Exclusive as well is something that you see from the very top teams here in Call of Duty Mobile is when you see them in these positions where they're up 40 to 50 points, they don't generally rest on their laurels, right? They're always trying to find a way to accentuate that advantage and use what they have on side to kind of blow the game out of the water. We saw that multiple times there from Exclusive, where they were up by that 40 to 50 points and they kind of used whatever streaks they had, whatever operators they had to try and take the lead even further. And you know what? Fair play to Omniscient, because they kept it close throughout the entirety of that game, but just not good enough, as map number 1 does go the way to Exclusive. But it is worth saying that we expected that to happen. Exclusive, after all, are one of the best hardpoint teams we have here in Europe. And so it kind of begs the question, doesn't it? If Omniscient are able to hold them close in the hard point, maybe we are really starting to see these improvements that we wanted to see out of Omniscient. And when we get into the search and destroy, maybe we are actually looking for something entirely different from these two squads.
And even better, to add to the search and destroy, it posed the question of how Omniscient have done their homework. Right. That hard point was so close. It was so close throughout the majority of the mid to latter hills. And it was only one instance where the hold was broken and then they could just sponge time. But even then, it was still 246 seconds. Now, on the search and destroy, we're slowing things down a little bit here. A very different game mode, a very different approach, more tactical to a degree. I think Omniscient have to at least have a deep playbook to start with, really get used to some set strategies. That really can benefit you in the first few rounds.
Yeah, and I don't think Omniscient have been generally terrible at search and destroy, right? I go back to kind of early on in the season, I go back to the very first series they had versus Kings, and I think they were able to take off at least one of the search and destroys from them. So I think very clearly Omniscient have been a very proficient search and destroy team. But for me, I think that the question is then kind of how are they going to play versus Exclusive, you know, on these offensive hits? I think sometimes that's maybe been a problem for Omniscient, is, you know, convincingly getting control of these bomb sites. Exclusive have been very good on the defense. I am curious again, it's kind of maybe the package point here, that what has the, I guess, what is the work they've put in? What is they going to produce into the search and destroy here? They're going on towards Tunisia, search and destroy. This is a pretty good map for them. This is, I believe, is the search and destroy map they took against Kings in the very first match of the Snapdragon Pro Series, so we'll see whether or not they can do it versus Exclusive here. They've shown promise here before, and they are doing the exact same thing they did back then to kick off this S&D. Pure, unpatented aggression from Satins.
Bob now getting committed towards B. Still Exclusive here. We're so aggressive out the rip. Both teams pass each other almost instantly. It's going to be a real tough call now. Once this, at least, bomb is committed to a site, it creates these instances where Omniscient are going to be really well, at least playing around what's closest to them. It's now committed. We're going to be seeing potential retake here.
Okay, Fuller's going to get the first blood there, and this retake versus Neil. So 3 versus 3. Players on site, though, in a variety of different positions. You have to pre-fire so many different angles, and you don't quite anticipate Satins doing that, and Satins from behind will find 3. That'll completely pull the round apart. Brilliantly played from Omniscient there on that offense towards the site.
Wonderful post-plant setup. Omniscient there, in control. Now Exclusive, I think for the first round, weren't ready for the aggression. I think Omniscient now can just try and play around that confidence the first round brings. Still, though, again, set nades, utility off the rip, very first points of contact, and damage dealt.
I see a very similar look here from Satins. Surely they will learn. Yeah, I think the player there that he took down as previously has repositioned to make sure they do deal with Satins, but first blood here already drawn. It's a sniper battle that has actually been traded out. So Razmo taken down. So Omniscient now looking for a way to penetrate the A site, and I still feel like the way in is probably Satins. You can see the way that he's positioned on the map. If anybody's going to do it, it's going to be him, and that is a great read from Creed to take that player down. Now things are very awkward for Omniscient.
Timing's so huge here as well, and information gathered, but really have to make sure that you are just in time. Omniscient still playing with only one player left on the map. Exclusive need to just, do what they need to do.
They need to calm down a little bit, though. I will say that much. I don't want to be running headfirst into Balance in these situations. He's still not the kind of player that you can take easily, and they are making some egregious challenges at the moment. And I love this play from Balance on the whole, right? I mean, he's just rotating straight over towards B. They recognize that Exclusive are fully swarmed to the A site. This is probably the best thing you can do in this situation.
No, definitely. I think having the bomb in hand as well on a free site, it does give confidence. In a 1v3, you want to play from post-plant position, especially when it comes to the reads mid-map. Utilizing the smoke, though, Exclusive will have audio cues and at least some passive reads. But wait, no commitment whatsoever.
I think the idea there was to get the bomb down or to get the smoke down and use the audio cue to maybe bait some players out. That hasn't happened. Balance is looking for some off time. And now he has just passed Creed, but they didn't see each other. Whether or not that works out for Balance is still yet to be seen. In from behind, and I think it will do. They're going to have no clue whatsoever that Balance has made this route in from behind, but does he have the trigger discipline here to wait? Yes, he does. High surprise. Not a nice one, but Fear has a surprise right back at him. Balance down for the count. A 1 versus 3 that could well have happened, but Veer with the denial.
A fantastic flick. Now tying it up 1-1 thus far. Two very different rounds from the outlook. You look towards Omniscient and their impressive attacking stature at the start. Exclusive, though, just held time and held all players alive. Now, as nades do start to get thrown across the map, so heavy equipment towards B from the likes of Omniscient. A trade goes down to make it a 4v4. Again, less players in the map, less populated space, more time to sprint, more time to clear.
Look at this. Balance wants control. He probably needs to get a couple of kills before they really have it here. Didn't quite anticipate where Caesar was, despite the fact that Caesar was taking shots. Didn't see him, so he's going to go down. So now a 2 versus 3 here. Bomb still not planted. And Lucky going to whiff a snipe that probably would have made things a lot easier for him. Now it's awkward for Omniscient here because they've got to retrieve that bomb, Connie. They're not in a good spot.
I know. Creed's committing to a long flank as well. It's going to have no real sort of frontal assault. Exclusive now have to at least attack from 2 points whilst covering sight. But really, isolated doors are so key.
Ooh, Caesar. Big 1 versus 1. That is so tough. And now Lucky here. He was being ambushed. He might have actually just made the perfect route to escape it, but maybe not so much. Overwhelmed regardless. Lucky goes down, and that's another round here for Exclusive.
Yeah, especially as well. I mean, I wonder how much Exclusive knew about the bomb being dropped there, because that would have at least changed their strategy. There was a lot of freedom, though. Only 1 player roaming and 2 committed to site, so their setup in itself was wonderful to close out the round. But still, again, dodging the set nades, keeping it 5-5 as long as possible. Omniscient will stand a better chance from this prospect.
Omniscient getting aggressive here towards B. The sniper towards the back has already been dealt with now. Razmo, if he could find a kill, no. Would have been nice, but not to be. That bomb surely going to be planted here, and now it will be. And that'll up the urgency somewhat for Exclusive here in this 4 versus 4, excuse me. It's a 2-2 split, though, for them. Spire's already drawn first, but the second would be nice, but Sands is going to die. Now a 3 versus 3 here on this retake. Caesar going to get the first one. Now snipe out for the second, maybe. The shot will be whiffed, but he has opened up a point here for the rest of the team to make their way on towards the site. Lucky's going to find the snipe back, though. Now all down to a 1 versus 2. Balance is going to be the player. He can't get it done. And Exclusive here with a retake. A little bit early for the shots in the body, but you know what? It's a confidence booster.
Exactly. I think when it comes to Exclusive there as well, they had such great coordination. The team shooting was excellent as well. When Saturn was killed, it opened up that completely to where they could accelerate through onto site and claim it for their own. Omniscient, though, I mean, the post plants are great, but now we're starting to see cracks in the armor a little bit. They can't hold the lives they need to complete the rounds.
Again, this is just not the same Omniscient that we saw versus Kings on this very map mode combination. It's not the same aggression. And even back in round number 1, we saw something more convincing from them. And oh my goodness me, how about that for aggression coming out from Creed and Caesar, the CC duo. Able to take down 1. Neil goes down, though, and Omniscient here going back to the old faithful. They want to get the bomb down on B. They've got the first blood to make it happen.
4v4, post-bomb situation, still Exclusive are so bunched together. Omniscient are spread out, covering bomb from all angles. Players on the outer flanks as well to just distract and create plays in that sense. Now in a 2v4.
Yeah, these players, though, they know exactly where they're coming from. Yeah, Lucky's drawing that first snipe, and Veer, do you even want to chow? Well, you don't have a choice, mate, because Balance is going to chow you regardless. And that's much better from Omniscient. I think even despite the fact that they lost that first blood, they made the right reaction, right, to just get straight on towards the site.
Yeah, no, that is always going to be the correct play, in my mind. You have to be sure again, though, now we're into at least the 5th round, the 6th round. that's where we start to see, the habits being formed and how counters can be, executed. Omniscient have got all the positioning here, but nice set nades from Exclusive.
There's aggression coming out from Omniscient, though. I love this play. It's not just Satins coming at you. It's Satins, it's Gafilla, and it's Balance. Gafilla has been such an important part of this round for Omniscient. How much more damage can he do? Yet another kill, and all of it down to Neil. He's going to snipe off one, and now I believe this is Gafilla, potentially for the ace here in this round.
I know, a smoke between the two players. And, oh, wow, this is so impressive. Neil's playing passive now just to try and, get Gafilla out, because in the 1v1, when each mate's are dead, you turn into an aggression machine. But now it really comes down to committing the bomb to a site and clearing every corner for Gafilla.
Neil's picked one. Gafilla, he's flanking. Did Neil just see him through the arches? I'm not entirely sure that Neil did. He's still looking in that direction regardless. Gafilla has the bomb though, so that's an advantage for him in this position. Gafilla, yeah, absolutely no idea where Neil is. He's still checking all of these corners, and now the timing might befall him. Neil's on the way to the site. Gafilla's going to get this bomb down before Neil can approach, but it's where Gafilla goes here. Does he have the coverage? No, he doesn't. Neil with the extra bullets in the body. Yeah, you know exactly what he's going to do here in this 1v1. Bit of unfortunate Call of Duty time in there for Gafilla. Goes against him.
That was one of the more interesting plays as well. I think when Gafilla had all of the kills on the board at the end, it's the aggression that really sort of trips you up in the 1v1s. You have sort of set strategies at the start, but when you're in that situation, everything has to be cleared. And everything is on your own accord. So no information can help you other than your own intuition. But again, a new round for both teams, Exclusive. Heavy equipment towards A, set nades ready in hand as well. A much more spread approach here from this, a 2-1-2 split.
5 players here from Exclusive making their way towards the site. Veer's going to draw the return fire against Satins, who does pick up that first bud. Good control to try and take down Balance, but you lose a life for it. So now down to a 3 versus 3 hit. The smoke. Going to give quite a bit of coverage here that they can get back across towards the bomb. Rasmo getting aggressive though, as is Gafilla. Omniscient here, they are trading lives with Exclusive and they've not traded control of the site just yet. Gafilla still has a little bit more work to do, firing some warning shots away to get them away from this site. And Exclusive still have their hearts set on an A push. Veer sliding across, Gafilla's going to draw that blood, and now Neil, one of the best snipers we have here in Europe, a 1 versus 2 on the cards.
And neither player wants to aggress or push it. They know that Neil needs to play around something. They'll read the bomb, though.
Oh, Neil! Oh, Lucky snipes him right back. Lucky's just got as good of a sniper as Neil does in that situation. And yeah, I think you're absolutely right, pointed out, mate. Neil, he had to go in for the bomb. To be fair, I think he's kind of unfortunate he even gets that first kill.
I know, and it was just a static hold. That's all you could do in that round. And it's still 4-3, still a close game. Both teams are strong at different points. Omniscient prefer the kills. Exclusive prefer the life expectancy. They want to be alive for longer.
First blood already starting off here for Neil, and second as well from Caesar. And third for Caesar once again. Gafilla's going to trade things out, but not really much to speak about there on that defense for Omniscient. They get picked apart right from the rip, and I love that from Exclusive. They just keep the ball rolling kill to kill.
A blink and you miss it round, if you will. I feel like in turn of it all, though, Omniscient just got unlucky. Unfortunate pathing, unfortunate break off from the get-go. But now we head into at least round number 9. And again, Utility's more held this round, much more static, but still, Exclusive want to get the control of the lanes and control of the spots.
Yeah, nice nade coming out from Creed to take one player down. Exclusive inching their way towards victory here in Search and Destroy. Omniscient, got to be careful they don't drown. Spike, bit of a wide shell, got a bit of help from Caesar at the very least, so Exclusive here going to be feeling confident as they look to make their way back towards the site, and Creed is just putting extra bullets in the body once again. He's making sure Omniscient know how much this is going to hurt them. And now Gafilla, for a perspective 1 versus 5, it would be phenomenal. He's going to find a second kill and gets away with his life, so it's not over yet.
Yeah, wise move as well, but aggression's going to be very, very fast here from Exclusive. They need to try and clear out Gafilla, because still time's ticking down, 29 seconds. That bomb is committed very much on the site. But now we have no idea really what Gafilla's doing. One more spot to clear. Will he get it?
Creed's watching up top. Surely not. Surely no way does Gafilla get the one-gun fight. And yeah, Creed going to take him down from afar. Almost. Gafilla almost gave us a very interesting round and one of the best plays, probably the best play that we would have seen across the entirety of the Snapdragon Pro Series this season. But no, Exclusive now just one round away. These first bloods have been so good for them so far on these offensive efforts, and it looks like it's going to be a unified effort straight towards B. They're going to butt heads here with Omniscient, though. Omniscient getting aggressive themselves. Nice set nade coming out from Balance. Saturn's following up with the aggression for the double. It's so annoying to deal with an R9 player, even more so to deal with Saturn's, who once again does more damage, and just like that, Exclusive picked apart. And that is a perfect play call coming out from Omniscient. They called it absolutely perfectly.
Oh, it was the long-range angles they were holding as well. They had two subs aggressive in the front side, and they had support. So when it came to the funnel effect, the Exclusive just playing the choke point wasn't meant to be, was not the right call. As now we do head into potentially match point, potentially the last round, and they're still fighting back with every bit of might they have.
You're going to need to see 4 rounds on the bounce hit from Omniscient. Try and keep this game alive. Big 1v1 going around between Neil and Gafilla. Who ends up winning that one is the former. Krieg going to put the numbers back in favor of Exclusive here. How much more damage can Caesar do through the smokes, pre-firing? Absolutely nothing. The players have completely evaded him in the situation. Lucky trying to get away. He's trying to play his life. Balance has gone down. So Lucky really needs to keep his life in this situation. He runs into a player holding a nade. That is so unfortunate. And all of a sudden, Razmo, a 1 versus 4 to keep this game alive. He's being pressured here in the middle of the map, and his snipes are not connecting.
Yeah, 2 shots missed. 35 seconds left, has the at least read to know where they're going to be.
Nice first snipe, not the second though. Caesar going to take him down in this situation, and yeah, just like that, Exclusive, their offenses are just a little bit better than Omniscient's. I think they only won 1 on the defense there, did Omniscient, and that was that big play call in the penultimate round. But again, just like in the hard point, we are seeing improvements from Omniscient here, a much better go of things in the Search and Destroy this time around versus Exclusive specifically. But on the whole, Exclusive are just so powerful, especially with the snipers. I mean, it goes without saying, we've been talking quite a lot about Neil as a player this season thus far. For good reason. He is one of the best snipers we have here in Europe, and you just saw why.
His sniping style as well is very interesting. He's very static. So he likes to play for the first bloods, and he loves to play long range. Aggression isn't really a strong suit. Even in the 1v3 that we saw there, he was just holding an angle. Didn't really want to push anything, maybe it's the round in itself, but you have to identify one thing as well. Gafila, on the other side, had some impressive moments too, particularly in those 1v5 moments. We thought for a hot second that maybe it would cross the line, but you know, it still shows, regardless of what happened here, that there was a lot of talent on both teams.
Yeah, and Caesar especially, got to give him a shout out. 16 kills, by the way. He's been super aggressive and so annoying. And I think in the follow-up situation specifically where, you know, he's in a situation where he needs to trade out a teammate that's just died, Caesar is pretty much always there to do exactly that. Exclusive off the back of power players, having a very strong Search and Destroy showing, meaning they are 2-0 up now in this best of 5. A quick look back at kind of what happened. Again, early on, Omniscient, they felt like there were multiple rounds they probably could have won, especially off the rip. I felt like we were going to see the same Omniscient that we saw versus Kings back in that very same Tunisia Search and Destroy, but we just didn't. They just didn't come out to play.
It really comes down to, though, again, the adjustments before that. How comfortable are they in moments of chaos and hecticness?
Yeah.
The players, because again, those moments that you're seeing in the replays, where players were snapping on, they were getting the kills needed, but they weren't really thinking ahead for the next few moments. They were already in spots of bother, 1v4s, 1v3s. Really, though, when it comes to how do you get yourself out of this, I mean, tough to call. Exclusive have got such a high pedigree here. They were playing all the rounds perfect, maintain man advantage for most portions as well.
Just so many crucial rounds coming out. This was that one towards the end where Omniscient, they read Exclusive perfectly, and it's more of that you want to see from Omniscient. It's more of that when Omniscient do manage to pull it off, they are so successful, but just have not been, for the most part, here in this series so far. As I said, folks, it's 2-0 now in favor of Exclusive, and we should say that that was a really important map for Omniscient to win. It's their strongest Search and Destroy by far. They hadn't lost it the entirety of the season so far, so to lose it here in the moment where arguably it matters most, well, not the best time to let that happen. So now 2-0 down in this best of 5. Can Omniscient now claw back a reverse sweep? I don't think we've seen a single reverse sweep the entirety of Challenge season so far. So to get one now would be phenomenal for the storylines. Whether we get one, though, I think is a case of this control, because we've talked a lot about Omniscient's control. It can be very 50-50. We've seen them a 3-0 some of the best teams. They've 3-0'd Kings at the very beginning of the season. We also saw round 5 controls for these guys as well. So what kind of control are we going to get here from Omniscient?
Well, again, 50-50s are very, very bold, and they're very, very correct. Hopefully you want it's the right side. You really want to make sure that when it comes to the controls, it's the start. It really comes down to how you can plan your strategies, and it really comes down to the two sort of styles. That's playing team deathmatch to a degree, where you're playing for kills and trying to get life advantage so drastic off the start, and just touching time, making distraction plays. These two really do sort of define a team in a sense of style, but also utilities embedded heavily in both. Again, it's how you get the kills, how you get the control, not in the way and fashion in which you do so spectacularly.
Yeah, I think, you know, we are going into standoffs control, as you guys just saw, and it is important to note that, you know, the way that this map, generally speaking, plays is it's so kind of heavily favored toward the defense, just because you can set up that spawn trap, get people pushing all the way towards back hay bales. You can literally watch people spawn in at points. But it is worth saying that that didn't actually happen rather peculiarly last time around between these two teams, despite the fact it was a 3-0 for exclusive. It wasn't a case where, oh, you know, on the defense, they just completely battered them. No, Omniscient actually had a lot more breathing room than you generally speaking would expect. So I still think there is kind of room here potentially for Omniscient to win this control, to make improvements from last time around. Again, I mean, they've made improvements all series long. They've been looking much better, especially in that Hacienda hardpoint, which we also saw during the last best of 5 between these two teams. But man, I don't know. This exclusive roster, they just seem to have a weird, awkward way to clutch up.
They do. They put themselves in great spots and bad spots. In the bad spots, they look good. I think that's the one difference from these two teams, is that they do have the ability to deal with pressure in quite a convincing fashion. I also like to highlight, when it comes to the series, we're at 2-0 right now. I mean, you have to keep an eye in terms of, you know, it's free to win. Winner goes through to winners finals. We want to make sure, again, though, it's completely plausible for Omniscient to come back and do it. We talked about it. You said there's been no reverse sweeps so far in the entirety of Snapdragon. So let's, fingers crossed, hope for the best.
Yeah, hope for the best here. We want a reverse sweep in this best of 5. Not that we're not bias casters. We would never be bias casters, but we would like to see a reverse sweep because it would just be fun. At the very least, we want to see this series continue because, again, we promised a close series last time around and we kind of let everybody down. We promised a close series this time around, and while it might have been in the maps, it hasn't necessarily been in the series. 2-0 to exclusive. Can they 3-0? It's going to be exclusive, starting things off on the defense. They've already let a couple of players through, one of which is Gafilla, who could seriously do some damage. He finds one kill simultaneously with a couple of players, and actually Omniscient here having a hell of a lot of room to breathe on this offense to kick things off.
Yeah, as well. Good call. Saturn's manages to cross as well onto B, but look at these X's falling on the blue side. The read comes in as well. Oh, interesting as well from Lucky. Has wedged into spawn some way, some fashion, but still, it's exclusive, just about maintaining it despite time going either way.
Well, right now, this is something you genuinely don't see. It's a potential spawn trap that was being set up there on the defense towards, or on the offense, excuse me, towards the defense. But Creed and Veer going to combine for 3. And a lot of that pressure will be alleviated. That is not completely not harmed them, though. They lost 3 ticks of aggression beyond the 2 points there, did Omniscient. So Omniscient having a pretty good go at things this time around. Now Neil wants to get up close and personal with a sniper rifle. He's already quick scope one. Neil going to quick scope the second as well. Surely not number 3 from the top rope. Neil making it look so easy to use the sniper rifle. Might as well use it in respawn. Why the heck not? But with 50 seconds left here, 1 player on B for Omniscient. They've stopped the clock. They're up 18 versus 13 in lives. Yeah,
impressive as well from exclusive to actually cross the middle of the map. They might have to sacrifice B here if they do want to get the 5 players respawning and the correct angles to take these kills, but still, it comes down to the players stagnant in middle, reading the crossfires, cutting through the lanes and supporting the team.
Now 14v7, extra 60 seconds on the point, down to the fact that B has just expired. Exclusive have their backs up against the wall here on this defensive round. This is not how you ever want standoff control to go, and it's going from bad to worse as well. Hunter Killer Drone coming out from Lucky will take one of those last remaining players down. Gafilla will take another, just down to Neil for a 1 versus 11, and that is not going to happen. And how about that for a start coming out for Omniscient? Never really felt like exclusive were able to get a stronghold on any map control whatsoever.
Came out all guns blazing, had the read on the sites, and just took control. Got a few kills in the process. Really, it comes down to the set nades, though, and how they want to at least counter the aggression. Trophies down 2, head-to-head in the 5v5.
Omniscient here on the defense, very much focused here towards the middle of the map, making sure nobody gets through, but one did. It's Caesar, who's already causing some problems. He's already found the double, and it's forcing the Predator missile out from Gafilla. He will take down Veer with it, but they haven't quite dealt with what the pandemic is at the moment. Just these players continuing to go through here, continuing to be annoying. Spy now one of them who will play his life to perfection. Now Creed on the other side. He's going to utilize the War Machine, and honestly, to be fair, he finds a couple of kills, but not a lot of map control for it.
Still though, over 20 lives apiece for either side, and a good wipe here keeps them missing, still in map control. And look at the aggression as well. Just pushing up through the lanes onto the sites. Exclusive now can't commit to a strategy because they're looking around trying to get the trade.
Our map control hasn't been very strong for Omniscient here in this round whatsoever. And now fighting for it once again. They've got to get some players out on the flank. One of those would be player number 5, Balance, who's able to find one still alive as well as the rest of the team is up around that spawn trap. On the other side, we do see the equalizers coming out from Spy, but he is spawn trapping on the offense at the moment, keeping these players away from the spawn trap on the other side. Satins is going to take one down before falling himself. And the spawn trap that you'd want to see from Omniscient hasn't happened. And on the other side, Spy is being so annoying. This is again that spawn trap that you so rarely see, and they have no choice but to go and deal with him. Spy is being such a nuisance right now and finally does get shut down, but not before a hell of a lot of damage is done.
Yeah, 6 lives left for Omniscient, 30 seconds to go. Now the path from exclusive here is very static. Players all across the map, segmenting it into points where they can just annoy the hell out of Omniscient. It's not going to be a clean round, but it is going to be convincing on exclusive side.
You've got to be very careful how you play this one in a 3 versus 10. It's unlikely for Omniscient to come out on top, but who knows? You never want to call these things too early as casters, but A is gone. And B, well, it all really does rest on the hands of Satins, who probably does have the better weapon for this situation, but runs away from the play. I think found on the fact he was peppered up down to 50% HP. Now needs a little bit of help coming out from Lucky, but the players, they're on the point here, and really Omniscient have no choice but to chow out towards it. Satins gonna go for it, not really getting the connection that he wanted with the weaponry. Balance goes down, out towards the point, Satins go, out goes Lucky as well, and not gonna find any of the frags. But I think crucially there, the right decision made in those closing moments to push out towards the point to die by lives and not by ticks.
Absolutely, that really is going to separate that round 5. You don't want to be on the bad side. But still, as well, Closer do have score streaks locked away to use this round, so really that's where the shift can come in. Again, at the start of this one, nice pathing through the middle, but wow, already a flurry of kills.
Yeah, you want to be really careful here because this is the first time this has happened. A wave of gunfights going the defense's way. Lucky plays it perfectly, lays down, just tries to play all silent-like to make sure that Omniscient do not get spawn trapped, and yeah, they're right out of it. Veer, though, with the Annihilate, it does actually get shut down. That's a big kill for Kafilla. That could have been a problem here for Omniscient if they did go down again. But step number 2 of this play for Omniscient, make sure you actually follow up some kills by this side of the map. Veer going to take down one, but Omniscient have broken out of the prison that would have been that spawn trap, and they've got some kills as well. Exclusive are pushed very far back towards this red side. They do not have any map control whatsoever, and Omniscient could now start getting on one of these points.
Yeah, B's fence staff. A is completely up to anyone, but still Omniscient are just trying to play for kills here. Even lives, but still just don't want to commit to any sort of play here unless there's 3 players behind. And really controlling the map here is Exclusive's game. They're getting kills in the feed, they're managing time effectively, and look at these players still pushing out aggressive spots.
Yeah, another wave of gunfights coming up for Exclusive now as well. A lot of plays resting on what Satins can produce over by A. He finds the first kill now. Time should be stopped as this A point now going to start to go the way of Omniscient. But towards the middle of the map, Veer was looking to deal with some of the players coming off the respawn. He's not going to be able to anymore, but now Caesar here with the Sparrow. A couple of players on the point to contend with, and Satins is going to take him down before he can get a single kill. So that's a massive stop coming out from Satins. Now a 10 versus 9. Second tick through here for Omniscient on this A offense, but it's going to be Creed who comes through for the double. He completely clears the point.
I know, 23 seconds left to go, 6 players. I'm just now down to the last wave of players. It's going to be key here. Rasmo's nowhere near the rest of anyone to get any sort of conversion.
But he does find a couple of kills towards the spawn, though. So not all is lost just yet for Omniscient. The problem is they're not able to get through the front. They are dealing with just way too much pressure. We do kind of need Rasmo, but Rasmo's still finding kills in the spawn here. And all of a sudden, what was a 2 versus 6 becomes a 2 versus 2. Now the 1v2. Satins goes down. Rasmo, who is spawn trapping these players, has it all to do. A big offensive victory on the cards, and he's got these players split as well. He's going to put the extra 60 seconds on the clock, but running straight in towards Brown. Player right above him here. Hunter Killer Drone going to go out. He's going to hope that that lands right above somebody, but Veer gets the better of Rasmo. Didn't quite get any audio cues as to where that player was. And I tell you what, Omniscient, they made that much closer than it needed to be. But Exclusive come out on top anyway.
I know, a 1v2, you rarely see those sorts of rounds converted. As Omniscient now needs to try and force the round 5. Exclusive again here. Only one away from making it at 3-0. Going to be a really convincing A point here as they want to try and fight for control. Both teams going head first.
Filler and Balance will find a couple of kills from Omniscient. Satins going to follow up with another one as well, but not quite convincing enough just yet to cover all the lanes. There's one player that's looking to make their way through the gas station. That's Veer. So you do need to deal with all of these threats. But there is still potential for a spawn trap with players hanging around Grandmas as well. Omniscient are actually in an okay spot, and now we're going to start to see some investment coming out. Philip with the Claw has already found 1 kill. These kills need to happen here for exclusive around the gas station. Caesar's traded out 1. What can Spy do? It's time to use the equalizers here. This A point's starting to go their way.
I know, and look at how many players are around it. Just a few points of contact. Might see Omniscient come through, but Razmo again being the difference. Alienating the pressure here, exclusive. Just trying to force themselves onto a site here, forgetting the structure. Look at this trap potentially coming in.
Yeah, here we go. This is what you wanted to set up if you're Omniscient, but you do need to still get the kills off the back of it. And Spy, Neil, and Creed, they're not letting that happen, folks. Exclusive. It felt like they might be in danger for a moment there, but now no longer. Just one more player to contest with who's being really quiet at the moment. That's Razmo being super duper annoying, and yet finally will activate at the same time as Lucky and Gefilla. Kills going Omniscient's way. This has been their round so far.
I know, and they're still trying to go for it. But now exclusive just about get themselves out of harm's way here. Can't really quit on either side here based on heads-to-heads.
Oh, Neil trying to snipe out of the playground. He's going to get shut down pretty quickly for it as well. Number 3 kills coming through. Now we're going to see investment coming out for exclusive here. Desperate times, desperate measures for Creed. He does find a hell of a lot of kills, but not really enough. And I'm not necessarily sure I agree with the War Machine. Would have been nice if he could get something off the back of it, but it's not to be. As exclusive now down to the last 3 lives. These players are not going to get anything. The 3 cross-map kill coming out from Razmo, and Neil will go down as well. Creed, the last remaining player, and they fall. And yeah, towards the end there, exclusive actually use a fair bit of utility to try and get themselves out of that situation. And I think the thing is, Omniscient do actually have a fair bit for themselves as well. I think this is 2 hunter-killer drones and 1 operator for Saturn. So interesting round 5 coming up here. And I think it's going to be exclusive starting things off on the defense.
Yeah, and that's what you want to have as well. Just fundamentally, you want to make sure that you can keep everyone out of harm's way, get the points cleared, but still it comes down to the first break-off. Now, as soon as those kills go through, Omniscient again need to read and get the trap employed.
Well, that's wrong. It's going to be exclusive here on the offense. This is not good whatsoever. And finally, we have this convincing spawn trap. Lucky's lining them all up and knocking them down. He's still going as well. Lucky for 6. How on earth has that happened? Omniscient just not even letting exclusive get a pixel on the screen of any Omniscient player. This has been a disastrous round 5 for exclusive. We were looking for this spawn trap the entire time, and it's finally happened. Immediately, exclusive looked like they might be out of this round 5.
I know, 8 lives left. It was just so impactful at all the right times. But really it comes down to now, can you stay alive? Can you do the objective? Simply put, it has to be one of these rounds really where you can make sure everyone is just following suit and keeping team shooting alive.
All right, well, look, exclusive have managed to get away with gunfights in their favor, but now it does definitely feel like they need to be perfect from here on out, and it just hasn't happened, has it? Lucky and Gefilla coming out of a couple of kills. What a phenomenal final round this has been for Omniscient, using all the utility right off the rip on the defense to just completely suffocate exclusive, and they've got no breath left in their lungs as Omniscient. A close one, but a win nonetheless. Control, we said it, if they were going to win a map in this series, it would be the Control. It's been their best game mode the entirety of the season so far, and they get it done. They're going to extend this series to another map.
It was simply down to that incredible spawn trap that we did see in that last round. It was so impactful. You look especially towards, you know, at any point in the series, you can do that and pull it off. Especially when it could have gone to a 3-0. Now they got a round. Now they got a map on the board. Go to another hard point. It looks a bit more lively from the side of Omniscient.
Yeah, for sure. That was a really good game, I think, from both of the teams, to be honest with you. And again, for the first 4 rounds, it felt very much similar to what we saw between these 2 teams on the last time, you know, where, again, exclusive, they managed to win that one 3-0. But nonetheless, it was the same kind of situation where neither team could really get control of the map. Neither team could really get that spawn trap into effect. But we saw exclusive, I think, kind of use a couple of operators towards the end of that round number 4. It gave Omniscient kind of, I guess, the confidence to use some of theirs right off the rip into a round number 5, because generally speaking, again, you use what you can to kick off that round number 5, use what you can to kick off that final defense to get the spawn trap working, and they used it perfectly. We're going to see it here in the highlight reel towards the end, but it was really that, was it 7 in a row, I think it was, from Lucky with the Annihilator. Yeah, there's a reason they call that thing the Annihilator.
Especially with the player that can use it too. I think when it comes down to Omniscient there were moments from both sides where there was a player going off and doing something insane, but really Omniscient just had the collectedness just in that final round to go, you know what? this is it. This is do or die. We have to commit to something brave here, and it did come off. 15 concurrent kills, and 8v23 it felt like. So really, Omniscient now have to start setting themselves in the position for hardpoint again. Now, that first map we talked about, the 236, 250, very, very close. Again, different map, different situation. Ultimately, Brody, they still stand a good chance.
Yeah, they do. Again, we go back to that first map, as you said, mate, an exclusive. You know, they played really close to Omniscient. They ended up winning it, but we'll talk about that in just a second here. Again, this is that round number 5 where Omniscient, they came out swinging, and a life deficit like that is almost impossible to come back from every single time. Despite the fact that we saw the Sparrow coming in from Caesar at the end of the game, it just wasn't enough. A phenomenal control coming out from both of the teams, but it is Omniscient that come out on top in a round number 5. They get it done, and now we move forward into a hard point. I can't remember for the life of me what the hard point is. I got a feeling it's Summit, I want to say. That maybe I'm wrong in saying that. We'll find out what the hard point is in just a second. But again, we go back to the first hard point in this best of 5, and it was a much closer affair. We talked about last time around, I think it was like a 250 to 44 scoreline in favor of exclusive. This time, 250 to 236. So very clearly, I think Omniscient have done their homework. They know where to make the improvements in these game modes. So I think regardless of what the map here is in map number 4, I think we are still going to see a really competitive game, and there is still absolutely a chance of that fabled reverse sweep that we wanted to see.
And definitely, that will be the sort of drawing point here. But really, when it came down to one thing I spotted in that first hard point, it was Omniscience. They were winning every single rotation. I mean, the first few, they were getting muscled off it quite easily, but near the end, they were managing to get comfortable in the fighting for control sections of the hard point. Again, when teams are in control, it looks fantastic. When they're out of control, it's not a great look. But the fighting for control, the team's ability to adapt on the spot really does show that high level of Call of Duty we're looking for, especially at this stage in the tournament, especially now where teams could potentially go on and win the whole damn thing, qualify for Brazil. It's a really exciting time.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I was right. It's going to be Summit that we're going into. And again, we talk about kind of this being a very strong map for both of these two teams. Spoiler alert, it is a very strong map for both of these two teams. But I believe, you know, again, you are going up against it, I think, if you're Omniscient here, because we talked about how exclusive are the #1 hardpoint team we have here in Europe, even with what happened versus Kings. And I still think that is the case. So I still think you kind of are fighting an uphill battle to a certain extent here. Whether or not Omniscient can extend this series for me, I think just really kind of comes down to how they come into this hard point, right? You know, do they come in with momentum? Are they able to kind of get control of the game early on? Because if they can do that, I think it's going to be a real confidence booster for them. They'll be feeling pretty good at the moment after that control. I think, you know, the vibes will be high in the team speak and the call, whatever they want to use. But moving forward in this hard point, I think that kind of needs to continue. We need to see that momentum kind of swing into this one.
Absolutely, and they can't gas out. They can't lose any sort of stride of energy, especially now we're in the sort of latter portion of the series. And again, you're against Exclusive, who have been in here before, have the experience, have the sort of caliber to do damage. Now, we really make sure, again, when Omniscience are playing this properly, you mentioned at the start, they've got to be strong at the start. It's absolutely spot on. You have to at least get a clear lead, at least get rotations locked down and control spawns.
Yeah, for sure. Well, look, we'll see. Again, that map #1 hard point was very close between these two teams, and I don't think there was any fundamentally that we saw incorrect from Omniscient. You know, if anything, they fixed everything that went wrong in that first hard point. It did just come down to kind of key performances from Exclusive that made the difference in the end. Key operator usages that came out and really did make the difference on key rotations. So we'll see how this map #4 looks, but so far, so good in this series. Every single map, one way or another, has been extremely close. This is exactly what we want to see between these two teams. And I think even if Omniscient do end up losing this series, right, it's a big if at this point because we don't know how the rest of this series is going to play out. I think, you know, I think it's very clear that they've made those improvements. I think they'll be feeling pretty confident at the end of this best of 5. And we were hoping we could get into the Summit. We're still not getting into the Summit. Guys, what is wrong? Come on, get us into the Summit, please, for heaven's sake. Regardless, we'll be in the Summit in just a second. We promise, folks. But yeah, this has been a really close, I think, series on the whole. And I think for Omniscient, this is the Omniscient we wanted to see, even if they are 2-1 down. Because a reminder of that storyline for you folks at home, if you haven't watched the challenge season so far, Omniscient, they came out swinging. They went all the way to a Game 5 versus Kings, and they should have won that series. If anyone recalls that Apocalypse hardpoint, where they were up by like 80 points or so, they should have won that hard point. They should have won that series in 4, and they'll still be kicking themselves to this day that they didn't. And then I think we got towards kind of the end of the challenge season, and it felt like Omniscient kind of started to run out of steam a little bit. We kind of saw what was a really demoralizing 3-0 from Exclusive over them, and then of course Mont, they won that series 3-0. it still was a really close 3-0, and I don't think it was the Omniscient that we wanted to see after that first series.
Now, in terms of Omniscient, I think we can draw, like, again, when they first played round robin, it wasn't the cleanest, and it was very, very much exclusive game to have. But the improvements are so different now. It almost feels like, again, they're so comfortable with their score streaks, utility usage. Feels like their pathing's great too. They're actually getting instances where they're getting kills from the side and even getting the spawn control for a period of time. Although hardpoint's very hectic, split spawns do happen. They have more awareness of it. They make the calls early. They like to wrap around, get central control as well to keep it in that spot and keep it very much, you know, a game of two halves.
Yeah, for sure. Well, look, folks, we'll be in the game in just a second here. Not sure entirely what is happening, what's occurring, but we'll get in it in just a second. But again, this is a reminder for kind of where we're at right now. This is the Snapdragon Pro Series. We're in a really good spot here, 2-1 up. Our exclusive in this series, but Omniscient, they look like they've got some momentum on side. Can they continue the series and force a game number 5? We're going to send it to a break to find out. See you in a moment. Alrighty, folks, welcome back here to the Snapdragon Pro Series. We're 3 maps deep into this best of 5 between Exclusive and Omniscient, the latter of which just won a round 5 control to keep the series alive. Next up, we've got a Summit hardpoint. When we finally get into it, it's going to be a banger because the first hardpoint, Connie, was really close.
Yep, 236, 250. It was one of those maps, especially where we were assessing the state of playing round robin, especially to now for Omniscient, where they've made such stark improvements in that time. It's turned out to be one of the most spectacular sort of series we've seen so far. And even getting the control too was an overachievement by many standards. Still though, I think though in this hardpoint coming up, again, we talk specifically about how they can continue to perform, because again, they're still looming over the edge here. They could go into lower bracket. It's going to be a case now, how well can they do and what can they do?
Yeah, for sure. I think the key thing for me here with Omniscient is, you know, they are a very competitive team. We saw that versus Kings at the very beginning of the season. We're now seeing that versus Exclusive. So even if they go in a lower bracket, I still think they're going to give Mont a really tough time. Of course, as you said, there is still the lower bracket just on the whole as a safety net. So it's not over for them just yet if they do end up losing this hard point, and they will be thirsting for revenge as they make their way through that lower bracket. But we're not there yet. We're still in for a chance here to see Exclusive go to a game number 5 versus Omniscient, and it would be epic if we could see that. I want it so badly, man. I know, like, bias caster and all that, I don't care. I would love to see a game number 5 between these two teams. And you know what? I'd also love to see a reverse sweep, because we haven't had a single one this season so far.
And hopefully in this series, we might be making 2 dreams of yours come true. Again, though, something stands in the way of that possibility. And ultimately, again, Exclusive do have full control. It really comes down to, again, the first instances. Set nades, utility, head-to-head combat. Let's get into it.
Alrighty, let's see. P1 is generally speaking a very mixy hardpoint here on Summit. You don't generally anticipate either squads to take a wealth of time off the back of it, so I'm expecting exactly that to kick off this one. But I did say before we went to break that I need to see some kind of momentum in towards this hardpoint from that control for Omniscient. So far, Connie, that hasn't happened.
Exactly. It's because we have control now. 40 seconds left, though. But still, it's all about the two halves now. Both teams are fighting for it, but the trades in the feed, just about exclusive. They still got it. Now, again, you can play for maybe 20 more seconds here. Really Omniscient just have to try and get the reads early. And again, when it comes to flanking and when it comes to getting those lanes cut off, need to be ahead of the game.
Well, I said that this wasn't, generally speaking, going to be a hill where you expect either team to get a wealth of time. So far, Exclusive have done exactly that. They've got the first 20 seconds or so, and they look to still be fighting for some more. Right now, it's going to be Omniscient in for this time. Still fighting for it. 3 players through, and will they just transfer over towards the rotation? Well, they're having a tough time of doing exactly that because Spy's providing the coverage from up top. Creed's now flying down low for the kills, and Spy's going to find another one as well. This is pretty good for Exclusive, and they get a crucial flanking player. I think that was Gefilla, who tried to make a flank around the backside. He is not going to be able to do so. This is a very good position for Exclusive.
And no can hold time here as well. Look at the geography. They have to cut through so many funnels, so many choke points, and this now really need to fight forward and get some time.
And they do. Caesar up top, causing some issues. He's already picked up that first against Balance. Lucky's going to slide out, though, for the double. So Omniscient now looking to approach this hard point. Pinstripe kill feed coming out. Neil going to disrupt that with a 2-piece. Now, how much more damage can they do? Saturn's so annoying to deal with the R9. Will find one. Gefilla's going to find a couple as well. So Omniscient are fighting 2 for now to get control. Gefilla makes his 2-piece a 3-piece. But just as you think Omniscient might have a chance at control, they don't. But that rotation towards New, that is looming and Exclusive. You can tell they don't want to go too heavily on this hard point because of it.
Yeah, I know. Maintain positioning, make sure the spawns are there. It's still a little bit static. We are seeing Spy really sort of meet the head-on collision of Omniscient. But again, Exclusive, though, are winning trades, getting kills, and maintaining control of the hard point as well. Don't need time, just need the read of pressure Omniscient can deploy.
Exclusive now in control. This could be an early runaway for them here in this one. Starting to see operators coming out from the likes of Neil and player number 4 in Caesar. He will find a kill apiece, no more than that. Both get shut down pretty quickly here. Creed's going to bring out the War Machine as well. They really want to get early control of this game. You can absolutely tell. Opportunity to perhaps line some of them up. All of these War Machine pellets, and not a single one of them connecting for a kill. If anything, just warning shots being fired away. Finally gets one, but not before Saturn's flies in towards the hard point. How much more damage can Saturn's do? Well, apparently not all that much, as Exclusive will completely eliminate them. That is 3 operators coming out, though, for Exclusive. So Omniscient, at the very least, can be happy with that, but maybe not so much at where they're at in this game at the moment.
Yeah, still Omniscient now sort of in 2 minds here. Go for scrap time, play for New. Either way, Exclusive will cross 100 points. Gap it now to 80. This is a very different look from what we saw in Hacienda. And we said at the start, Omniscient needs to have that leverage. Exclusive, though, playing lights out Call of Duty. Isolate the lanes, but a split spawn there for Balance might change it all up.
I mean, maybe he gets some good timing as well, to be fair. At the very least, it'll weaken the defense here, as Rasmo's going to find a posthumous 1 kill with the Sparrow. Still now, proper spawns coming through from Omniscient. You're going to see Saturn's utilize the equalizers as well. We need to make sure this hill is theirs if you're Omniscient, and that is exactly what's happened so far. So far, so good. Saturn's now just keeping an eagle eye out for anybody that wants to even try to look at the hard point, because he really, if anybody, is the player that needs to get these kills, and indeed he is doing exactly that. Balance going to bring out the War Machine as well, and he's going to find 3. So Omniscient here doing what they can at the moment to stay competitive here in this game.
Oh, Gefilla as well, reading the flank, only for a moment, and this now can play for the last 30 seconds here, bring it to a much closer stature, but then, and again, it really comes down to how can you hold your bottle. Omniscient needs to try and get some players around the backside. The flank would be a bad idea, but the player reads and pressure are so key here. Again, we talk about just how much Exclusive need to try and get time here. I mean, 100 points is all right so far. Omniscient, though, have got now at least some cooking to do.
Yeah, you've got streaks now for Saturns and Balance as well. I think Balance is actually just going to throw the Hunter Killer drone straight out. And to be fair, it's not the end of the world at the moment for Omniscient. Yeah, they're down by about 40 points or so, but you know what? That was a big hill for them. It keeps them competitive in this game, and I think we got to see some great utilization of the operators as well from them. But for me, I think now they do definitely need to convert this into time for the new hill. Lucky, who had a phenomenal end towards that control with this very operator, wants to do it again here, but unfortunately doesn't quite spot Creed on the heady. Now going to have to go back to the regular weapons are Razmo and Gafilla to try and keep Exclusive away from this time, and they just can't do it. Exclusive continue to be annoying, continue to hit it, and now we're going to see Spy utilize the equalizers as well. He's looking for all of these different gunfights, and he is finding them too. Omniscient have to be very careful here. They don't give this time away.
Omniscient as well do have a streak in mind. Saturns has a cruise missile to use later on. Although if looking at this map, it can be hit or miss. Could benefit, could it not? Exclusive though are now playing for scrap time here. 15 seconds. Rotation though is still in the mind from Omniscient as players now from the north side are really starting to apply pressure and overload.
Yeah, Omniscient need to make sure they get time. They cannot afford to lose this rotation towards New, and to be fair, the first wave of gunfights has been theirs. It's a pretty decent start to this P2 for Omniscient, but oh god, I've just cast a curse to have a night now. Just Gafilla, the last one left alive here. He needs to go huge. You cannot afford to give this time away to Exclusive. Creed is being so annoying with that War Machine up top. He gets so many kills there with it. And now we're going to see Gafilla utilize the Claw. The spawn to flip, not in favor of Omniscient here. Exclusive need to be very careful about the spawns, and now they've got them in their control. Now they're starting to get the kills too. And Connie, this is not a good position for Omniscient whatsoever. They are 70 points down right now. They cannot afford this to happen.
I know, they're getting eliminated from the front, from the back. Nobody can cross onto the hard point. The Annihilator's doing so much damage. Exclusive can play for time here, and a rotation. 30 seconds left for this one. But look at Omniscient now. Their pathing's changed completely. And even the Hunter drone tries to get a few players' information. Look at the south side of the map from Omniscient.
Yeah, that's a nice two-piece coming through for the equalizers, but honestly, I want to see more. You've still got a bit of time left with it. It's, again, one of the longest operators we have here in Call of Duty Mobile, and he, unfortunately, is going to get shut down, but it's not over just yet. Lucky and Razmo do want a piece of this pie. Sans is going to utilize the Predator missile, doesn't find any kills, but does find the information. Fear, though, has one on the other side, and for all that Omniscient have thrown at this rotation, none of it has worked. Now they need to be honest. They need to be straight up towards the front of the kill and try to get some of these kills, and the kill feed is not being kind to them whatsoever. Omniscient now trying to fly through the front. Caesar with the Sparrow looking to shut them down before they get any chance of it. He's already found two. Gafilla, can he be number 3? Has to run straight on through, but didn't quite anticipate Neil being up top in the corner. However, Connie, this is not over just yet here for Omniscient. They've got players in the back line.
I know, they're swarming the entirety of the hill, but even still, 37 seconds is going to be a bit risky. Exclusive, very much 100 points nearly clear of them. And they're just at this point playing with food, getting the read for the pathing. Because again, rotation's now going to be very key. With Exclusive being in this far much control, they can do anything they want within reason.
Omniscient going to find a wave of gunfights that might actually benefit them here. They might be able to pull off what would be a miraculous rotation. Currently, there are 3 players from Exclusive guarding it. So this would be huge if they can make it happen. Satins has pretty much gone unnoticed around the backline. He's the only one that can actually convert for gunfights, though, so he has to pull off something crazy. Didn't have any help to work with whatsoever and ended up getting shut down. So now Exclusive, 60 points to the good over Omniscient. They have control of this next rotation. Omniscient, they need this first wave of gunfights to go their way. And up Snow's side does come Satins. He goes down. It's going to be a couple of players, Gafilla and Razmo, who do actually manage to find gunfights. And all of a sudden, close spawns coming out here from Omniscient, but close spawns towards the back for Exclusive as well. Creed with the War Machine, Neil with the Claw as well. The operators are good for Exclusive. They send Omniscient away.
2 splits, but look at the Claw now. Omniscient do have the pathing, but regardless of it, Exclusive still have control. Numbers are there. It's so impressive to look at because Omniscient, despite getting all the lanes correct and getting the pressure there, it's just not enough. The War Machine is so much damage. It's just simply going to be Omniscient now, maintaining control for a little bit. Exclusive, though, only 38 away from closing out the series.
Yeah, but to be fair, they don't actually get the rest of that time, so Omniscient here are going to get a valuable 20 seconds that will keep them competitive on the toes of Exclusive. But so far in this game, the thing that's really befalling them, the reason they are behind, has been control of this kind of P1 to P3 collective of hills where Omniscient, or Exclusive, have taken the vast majority of this time. Omniscient need to be better. They cannot let that happen again here. Will they, is the question. Omniscient already going to bring the equalizers out. It's Satins who's in control of them. He has to find some kills at the moment for the rest of his team. Veer's going to find the double. Lucky's one of those players. Satins down towards the point. He's going to get shut down only after getting 1 gunfight. Not the value that they wanted.
Still, though, impressive from Omniscient to claw it back this far. Now we're going to be fighting for control here. As it trickles on down in P1, Omniscient look to try and flood. But still, they're only getting a player at a time on the hill. The rest are spawning outside. Exclusive here have got all the correct angles to try and sort of at least get themselves on the hill here. It's a real rough match, but still, it's going to be Exclusive here, trying to fight out for these last 20 seconds.
Big Annihilator coming out there. Exclusive will get the remainder of this time. It's not going to be enough to close out the game just yet, but again, they'll be feeling pretty confident given how the P2s have gone on the last set of rotation. Spice is going to line a couple of players up. Creed and Caesar will follow up with some kills of their own. They want every single second of time they can get off this hill. Towards the new one we go. Can Omniscient hold on in this game? Can they hold on in this series? Couple of kills now starting to come through from them. Exclusive, they want to make their way towards the point. Razmo is going to deny for the first. Lucky for the second with the Annihilator. We're seeing utilization of the operators coming out for Omniscient, but is it good enough? Because Exclusive, they have a wave of gunfights. Razmo and Balance, the last one's left inside. Balance with the War Machine, finds a second kill. Looking for the next one versus Spy, who's going to approach for the melee. He finds that kill. Sans now next to contest. Exclusive, just 2 points away from victory.
Still, though, nice hold from Omniscient. They need to make sure these players can't get through. It's going to be really impressive. They hold the line. They get 28, but still 2 for more Exclusive, and it's going to be a front from Spy.
Finds the kills. Exclusive. That's going to be all she wrote. Omniscient cannot get it done. And despite the scoreline suggesting otherwise, that definitely felt like a, I guess, definitive game from Omniscient, or from Exclusive, excuse me, who come out on top in the series 3-1. Wow, what a close series all the way throughout up until that final game.
Very much a tasty match to have right there. And we talked again, that hard point there, just to recap, they were down 100 points from this, and they brought it about like a 20-point, 30-point game. So realistically speaking, if they can continue maybe in lower bracket against Mont, you know, that same level, they'll go through. But ultimately, again, Exclusive just have that edge. They got all the time, they had all the pressure, and still were a better team thus far in that match.
Man, I just can't believe that game. Such an incredibly close series throughout, and then we get to that game number 4, Bobby, and it kind of just all falls apart. Omniscient just don't look competitive in the same way they did in map number 1.
Yeah, and to be fair, we do anticipate that this was likely the map pick for Exclusive as well. So not super surprising to see things go sideways. But to be fair, this was much more the Omniscient that we expected to see than what we saw the first time around. So you have to give them credit for fixing whatever the issue was. I am curious about that roster move for Exclusive, taking Shark out of the rotation. That's not something that I expected that we would see. And especially given the fact that they're now getting ready to go up against Kings. Very curious to see if they stick with it.
Yeah, there's lots of potential storylines coming out of this match alone, because Exclusive now have to face off against Kings. Whoever loses that, if say in one universe it's Kings who win and Omniscient go up against Mont and then face off, winning that, go face off against Exclusive again, now they've played against each other, and like you said, Brody, up until that 4th map, I mean, Omniscient was making that a really difficult run for Exclusive. They were super close. Obviously, Omniscient won that control, and either way, I think we're in for some good matches coming up around the corner now.
Yeah, definitely. I think, you know, the next few matches, I think with Omniscient now being competitive, I think it's going to make it a little bit more interesting, because I think that was my concern. I was a little bit concerned about Omniscient coming to this series and getting completely blown out of the water, and I'm glad that that hasn't happened here, because now I think it still leaves us with a bit of a question mark about, you know, how competitive can Exclusive be versus Kings? I know we've had that roster change to consider as well, but, you know, maybe there is a chance that Exclusive can win that one. Maybe Omniscient can kind of fix some of the mistakes even we saw in that series, and we can see something different out of them moving forward. But yeah, I think at the very least, I'm glad that Omniscient have made it interesting for us.
Yeah, I think we've got some good competition around the corner in store for everyone. To close out the day, though, we mentioned earlier we're going to be sticking with our upper bracket portion of the competition, which means after the next match, we will have one of our 2 teams solidified for our grand final, which will be a best of 7. Everything we've been watching up to this point will have been a best of 5, but grand final will be a best of 7. So it's time for another short break from our side of things, though. Before we do that, Bobby, I just want to get your quick thoughts on this upper bracket final, because this is a match everyone was expecting to see.
Yeah, it's no surprise. These have been the top 2 teams in Europe for a while, but both teams have had very different paths. I think that Exclusive, once again, have the most to prove heading into this one. And taking Shark out of the starting lineup, even with maybe some difficult performances out of him, I think that could potentially be a decision that comes back to bite them. So we'll see what they can bring to the table, but once again, it's got to be all hands on deck if you're going to have a chance to take it down Kings.
It's going to be a great way to close out day 1 of our challenge finals here for EU. Before we get into it, though, like I said, it's time for that short break. When we return, our upper bracket final between Kings and Exclusives. Don't go anywhere. You're watching the Snapdragon Pro Series.
Welcome to the place where dreams come true. Where everything you want can be yours. If and only if you're willing to work for them. You're willing to hurt for them. But most of all, you're willing to be first for them. Ha! Look, I'm going straight to the top. I don't know how I would stop, like it or not. I got some goals that I'm hitting. You hear what I'm spitting? It's hot. Look what I got. Whole lot of passion and pain. The road to success is insane. Stay out my lane, cause I'm on a mission. I'm getting what stands in my way. Yeah, I'm a beast. I wouldn't play with me, baby. The way that I'm training is crazy, and I do it daily. You wanna talk about drive? I got more drive than Mercedes. I've never been lazy. I'm in the room, it's a red alert. You wanna compete? Well, get better first. I got 10 toes in the dirt, push through the hurt just to show them my worth. I'm the best. Yeah, I'm the best. I never stress. I know what's next. I'm who they test, like we playing chess. But I'm unimpressed, so now let me flex. Ha. Yeah, I'ma work through the struggle and hurt, cause I know my worth, and I gotta be first. Ha. Yeah, I gotta be first. Look, I don't want anyone's sympathy. I understand what it's meant for me. I give my focus and energy. If it's meant to be, then it's meant to be. But mentally, I'm undefeated. They hear that and say I'm conceited. Like there's no reason. Like I don't beat them and come back again just to teach them that when you work under pressure, you reach higher measures. They'll try and bring you down, but you cannot let them, and only get better and focus on cheddar. Eye on the prize and you'll become a legend. Like, when I'm in the room, it's a red alert. You wanna compete? Well, get better first. I got 10 toes in the dirt, push through the hurt just to show them my worth. I'm the best. Yeah, I'm the best. I never stress. I know what's next. I'm who they test, like we playing chess. But I'm unimpressed, so now let me flex. Ha. Yeah, I'ma work through the struggle and hurt, cause I know my worth, and I gotta be first. Ha. Yeah, I gotta be first. They don't know what's gotten into me, how'd I turn pain into energy. Through all the struggle and hurt, remember my worth, and that's why I gotta be first.
The Snapdragon Pro Series powered by Samsung Galaxy is brought to you by Snapdragon Elite Gaming, Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra, Monster Energy, and DHL.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the Snapdragon Pro Series, where it's time for our last match of day one of our challenge finals here in EU for Call of Duty Mobile. Honestly, this is going to be a fantastic matchup. Could even potentially be a little bit of a preview of what we might get in our grand finals. But after this third match, one of our teams will have solidified their spot in that grand finals, being one step closer to also securing the only spot available in Europe in Mobile Masters in Sao Paulo, Brazil. So this is a very important matchup between our top two teams in the region, Kings versus Exclusive. I mean, it's going to be great no matter what way you cut it.
I think it's the matchup that we've looked at all season, right? Every single time that these guys come up against each other, we know that, well, it should be a close game. Last time it wasn't so much, but realistically, we do have these two penned as the top two teams in Europe, so it should always be a good spectacle.
Now, I was doing a little stuff in the back while you guys were going through the casts and being super efficient with your matches. We have to talk about these teams a little bit more in depth because of how important this match is and how close they are when it comes to their performances. We've only seen them go up against each other the one time, but we also have some stats that we can use from when they did face off. Okay, now we should have, for all of the modes, we've got their head-to-head comparison here. Starting off with Hardpoint, I want to talk about these numbers here and also what they could potentially mean for the upcoming picks and bans.
I think there's nothing too much to read in terms of the picks and bans from this one, but Kings did massively, well, not massively outslay, but they obviously did outslay in the previous hard points that we had up against each other, which was, it was two different maps. It was 3-1 scoreline, Bobby, if I remember correctly. So I think Exclusive, that was the game modes that where things did seem a little closer, if I remember rightly, but it was a bit of a strange matchup.
It was an odd matchup. For the most part, it was fairly definitive in regards to the way that Kings dominated the series. Obviously exclusive. One map where they were able to keep up, but definitely struggled pretty significantly in the hard point, as you can see right here, getting outslayed. The assist numbers there for exclusive, but maybe almost playing a little too tightly together, as you can see, picking up 71 assists, but if it's not converting into kills, not going to be able to find a whole lot of value there. So yeah, you look at the search and destroy, and I would say that's probably one of the better opportunities for exclusive to be able to take this series. They have looked very, very strong in the mode throughout the season. You look at their search and destroy, and they have only dropped one map the entire season on that mode, that being the Meltdown. So I think they have a big opportunity here, depending on how the picks and bans go, to be able to take the series going up against Kings. But I think it's going to be very momentum-based, and I think a lot of it is going to be predicated on them doing their best to win that pick ban process.
Now, obviously, that's just the hard point, what we'll be starting off with here when it comes to our series of maps. But then we can also take a look at some of their numbers here on S&D. So talk to me a little bit about these, Connie.
Well, in terms of it all, I mean, Kings have got it in every single category. The assists, the deaths, the kills. But seriously, when we talk about exclusive, I mean, their best mode, that's their best look. Bobby said it clearly. We have to just elaborate, though. 37 kills as a team in S&D is quite high. It's very, very high. So therefore, when it comes to Kings and their style, they like to get the bloods early and have at least 1 or 2 man advantage to continue to at least develop the round, get a bomb down, you know, play the defenses, clear lanes. But realistically speaking, again, I think that Kings, again, are the team to beat, right? Exclusive in that last series, we just saw them. I mean, their only real exposure was in the control. I think it's good to highlight in terms of, like, how Exclusive had developed since round robin to now. I mean, if Omniscient can take them to a scary portion, or at least a one map, I think that, you know, from King's standard, they do still have such strength.
And I think what's hard about some of these stat comparisons here, Ton, is the fact that anyone compared up against Kings is always going to fall a little bit short, but the numbers are still relatively close when it comes to exclusive side.
They are, and again, I mean, you can read in the kills a little bit more when it does come down to search and destroy, but it doesn't tell you how many 1v3s, 1v2s, that kind of thing could have played off. Kings are always going to be in that stat line in the positive side of things, though, aren't they? I mean, when we talk from a sheer slaying ability, it's so hard to go up against them. We know absolutely everybody on their roster can absolutely hang with the best in the game. So it's just so hard to break them down in these moments when we specifically talk about kills, deaths, that kind of thing. You are always going to be at a disadvantage against Kings.
And then, of course, the final round of stats, this time taking a look at the control. Like Connie said, as we just watched that last series, this was where they kind of seemed the weakest, Bobby. And you can see that reflected a little bit in the stats as well.
Yeah, no question about it. It was, once again, there's not really a weak mode. There's not a weak map for Kings. So there's only so much that you can really look at in regards to this. Obviously, exclusive with the one map that they took up against Kings being the hard point, that much more impressive that they were able to do it while getting outslayed. So with the... It almost seems like a sheer gun skill disparity between the two teams. Kind of difficult to pinpoint any major ways that exclusive can find a way through this. I think definitely seeing the way that they played the Summit hardpoint going up against Omniscient, that's definitely got to be something they try to work into the map pool. But definitely dominance across the board for this Kings roster. Even in the maps they were losing, they were still putting up crazy, crazy numbers.
I think at the end of the day, Kings pretty much have most of the pressure on their shoulders, Connie, lots of expectations that they need to be living up to. And if they are able to do that now, that means they've at least solidified their spot in the grand final. Yeah,
I know, and that for so long as well. I mean, again, we're talking about their sort of tenure. They have got a lot of golds in their Gamepedia. They have got a high level of play, but there's always a situation where if you are that team at the top for very long, everyone's still gunning for you, got a target on your back. Again, the pressure, you mentioned it. That is such a true fact. It's still, though, if Kings are still maintaining this level of play for this long, I have full belief that when it comes to this series in particular, they're warm after playing Mont. They're going to go into this one and just, you know, face a team in the caliber of exclusive with such, I'll put it pretty bluntly here, with a lot of passion.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, the last bit of information that we need will be those picks and bans. I believe the map veto is ready, starting off on that Arsenal hardpoint here, 10.
And Arsenal coming through as well. I mean, we've seen Kings look very, very strong in it beforehand, but a bit of a shaky start against Mont. And if I remember correctly, it was exclusive who aren't massive fans of the map either, so some work probably being done there. Takeoff coming in again, that's a good map for both these two, but not too surprising to see Hacienda gone. Meltdown and Slums coming in for the S&D bans, that's not too surprising either after what happened in the previous series, and going to a raid isn't too strange either. I think these all kind of make sense to me, Bobby, so far.
Yeah, nothing too surprising. I think the Arsenal has got to be a Kings map pick, given the fact that, once again, they not only just beat Mont, but they're also undefeated on the map for the season. And Takeoff, not a bad map for them. The Takeoff ban previously was largely just because that's one of the specialties for Mont. Looking at the search and destroy for this Kings squad, they feel pretty comfortable whenever it comes to the firing range, being 3-0 for the season. 1-1 on Tunisia, though, that could be the opportunity where if somehow Exclusive can push things all the way to a map 5, they may have a chance to take the series.
All right, final thoughts before I send you over there on the picks advance here, Connie?
I think we're in for a good time.
I mean, absolutely. This is going to be the matchup of the day. Like I said, possibly a little bit of a preview of what we might even see in that grand final. For now, we will send Bobby and Connie off to the other side of the studio. Get yourselves ready to cast the last match of the day. And Ton, give me your final thoughts before we dive into it.
It's hard to look past Kings. It always is. But look, Exclusive, especially in that series as well, I would have liked to see them come out and be a little bit more dominant than they were. It was definitely close between themselves and Omniscient, but I think it was mostly because Omniscient just played a lot better than they did in the previous matchup that these two teams had. So I think it's hard to judge, but it's always hard to look past Kings. I would be very surprised if they don't win this one, but it would set us up for a hell of a grand final potential if they do. So let's see. I'm hoping for a close game, but I'm going for King.
I mean, we started off getting a close matchup in match number 2. Hopefully we'll close out the day with another one. Either way, 2 juggernauts of the region will be facing off in our upper bracket semifinals. It's time to get into it. So Bobby and Connie, let's close this thing out.
Thank you very much, Lauren. Looking forward to this absolute banger of a matchup that has definitely been, I mean, it's been months in the making, given the fact that we've seen these two teams go up against each other, not only in the European region, but in Stage 5 of the World Championships as well. So obviously, they got a lot to look back on, VOD to review, and opportunities to improve on some mistakes that they've made. But heading into the series, I would say Exclusive, definitely more to prove, not quite as dominant in their first match of the day.
Exactly, and even when I touched up on earlier there, when we were talking about Exclusive in that last series in particular, sacrificing a map in the control, very, very risky, especially when we're in a spot now where Exclusive have to play, you know, map-based, map pick heavy against Kings, because they are the heavy favorites. No one's dethroned them. In terms of the ability in the map, I really think, though, when it comes to it, Exclusive can just about find the right level of play and the right level of pressure, then Kings might struggle.
All right, we'll see what they can do. Obviously, Exclusive with the unorthodox meta, the AK-47 coming out for these guys. We'll see what type of damage they can do. Is once again, Arsenal big map, so you got 3 ARs coming out. But you got a Grizz to deal with on the inside of the hard point. He has been a menace all season long, but Exclusive get the better of the opening gunfights. That's exactly the start that they were looking for. Marvel doing his best to take players off those headies. No success so far, though. Raid does spot Spy, but Spy shooting lasers. And what a solid start right here for this Exclusive squad.
Exactly, they're going to maintain time here, 35 seconds left, and Kings still haven't got really any good looks. They're spawning outside, they're getting isolated, and it's going to be a real sort of difficult spot to really get yourself in the hill. 26 seconds, nothing yet touched by Kings. Maybe start thinking about rotations at this point, especially where the likes of Exclusive now are playing for streaks and they play for heavy time.
Well, it's going to be spawns out toward that ramp side for Exclusive that actually could end up benefiting them, as it gives them some window control. Raid trying to clear things out through that mid side. And right now, Kings happy to pick up the scrap time right here, as they'll have players spawning toward that next hard point, actually spawning opposite side. So that's going to be devastating, leaving Says all alone. And Exclusive going to be able to pinch right here. That is going to be full control early. And once again, Exclusive off to the hotter start. One player going to get red on rotation right there, but it's Exclusive taking topside control. And once again, tough uphill battle right here for Kings as they're trying to find an avenue into that hard point.
Yeah, I know. Exclusive right now. I've got 2 more to add to that. But the spawns are close. I mean, really, it comes down to how well can Creed keep them back. Especially now when it comes to the pathing. Every single route Exclusive have to the hill is a lot closer than Kings, despite them now touching time. The 5 control is going to be very huge, because still Exclusive can walk away with potentially 30 seconds of scrap time. Kings, though, holding from the front side. Maybe it might be a contest. But realistically speaking, Exclusive here still have impressed us thus far, this early on into the hardpoint.
Kings have just not found an inch. Spy with an early equalizer. He's going to be able to find a big feed and a Pred missile with it. Say's finally there to shut him down, but once again, it's just Kings fighting for scraps right here, and that's going to open a rotation for this Exclusive squad to one of the more difficult hard points to lock down. They've got 3 players on the hill, and Veer locking down those backside spawns, so for the time being, Exclusive should be able to get heavy time right here as they're winning every single one of the gunfights. And this is not a Kings squad that we've seen falter this much so far this season.
Great pressure, though. Kings don't get the important kills. Exclusive, they will have time, but it's going to be down to the pressure read, down to the ooh, delicious. Exclusive, they try to get time, but Kings, they isolate the kills from 2 lanes, and still Exclusive managed to get a bit of time on the board. Really, it's a case of make your kills count. Make sure they're isolated at the right spots on the map, because they aggress forward after the kill, and again, it's a simple trade.
Cheeky spot for Caesar right there to pick up 1, shuts down the Annihilator in the hands of Marvel. And once again, you got to flip spawns if you want any hope of getting sizable time right here. Finally, Kings are able to break, but it's not before Exclusive find at least 30 seconds in the hard point. That's going to leave them spawning out, and obviously King should be able to lock in the rest of this time. Exclusive not going to want to overinvest and put themselves in a bad spot for P4. Grizz already on rotation right here. Crucial gunfight up against Caesar. Will he be able to find anything? Information's there, and Grizz is there for the shutdown. This is the opening Kings have been looking for.
Plenty of maze to support too. Exclusive, though, fighting from low ground. Very difficult to take, especially when it comes to the time. Now, Exclusive here are just about touching 100 points, but Kings, again, they've got the hold set up here, Bobby. You can look, especially when it comes to the streaks and utility usage, they've got War Machine set up. They can isolate any sort of choke point. Nobody can cross, right? So now we're going to be seeing the remainder of time here being isolated, but Exclusive on the spawns do have the option still to push onto time.
Spy going to be able to find a few right there, but traded out, and once again, Kings doing a phenomenal job of keeping pressure here on P4, but having a difficult time getting things all the way cleared out. Heavy investment as Veer goes with the Annihilator right here. He's going to be able to find a 2-piece. Players split spawning right now for this King squad, and that's just continuing to force them to try to take those gunfights on the outskirts and allowing Exclusive to lock in more hardpoint time. Veer looking to send out streaks. He's going to get shut down before he's able to, but Exclusive pick up the scrap time and once again win that foot race on over toward P5.
Impressive isolation kills as well coming in from Neil and Spy just to keep time available and make sure that spawns were going to be so deep for Kings. This is a great look so far. 112.75, New Hill is popped, and look at Kings right now. Still players respawning, but it's much more fanned and spread out. I mean, Ray has been wonderful in terms of rat plays and keeping it close to the hill, but simply it comes down to the pressure applied and how well you can break.
Say's big opportunity right there, but Caesar's going to invest the Sparrow. Able to find 2 and keep his life right here. So for the time being, hard point time will be locked in for Exclusive. They continue to build on this lead. Not a map that they've been super comfortable on in the past, but obviously have been putting in the work, and it's paying off as Kings just struggling to find an inch, let alone a mile, against this Exclusive squad, and they're currently doubling up on the reigning champions of Europe.
So clean as well. Streaks to boot. I think Exclusive really are starting to have full control. And I mentioned when you're in control, it's fun. When you're not in control, it's not. Kings just haven't had opportunities really to engage in those fighting for control situations. They're getting isolated. They're getting wiped. It's not fun, especially when you're seeing the likes of Neil and the likes of Creed have the map they're having. It's been so impactful. Their pathing is excellent, and they're allowing now no chance for Kings to get onto the repeats.
Well, if you're going to find an entry, it's going to be at the hands of Grizz. 2 from the shotgun, and the Annihilator for Marvel does come through. So Kings trying to lock in a big chunk of time here on P1. Marvel's still alive with that Annihilator in hand. Doesn't have an angle to work with right here. Creed working from window, able to find 1, but can't make it a second. Grizz continues to be pesky. He's going to get shut down in the hands of Veer. And once again, despite the investment from Kings, Exclusive, just the stronger squad, the better teamwork for them, and a lot of one-by-one pushes are costing Kings the big way.
100-point game here, Bobby. We came into this talking about how Exclusive had a mountain to climb against the reigning champions, but simply put, their adjustments are gorgeous. A nice wipe there for Kings the last 10 seconds, but let's talk about the rotation here. Full-on foot race, but still Exclusive here, just about have the edge.
Hunter Killer comes down from above, does connect on to Creed. Big gunfights. Nobody on the hard point as of yet. Yet to pop, and Veer's going to go ahead and hop on down, see if he can get that support. Shuts down Raid on the bottom side, but you got a player up in tower. That's going to be Marvel to pick up 2. Can he make it a 3rd one right here? Doesn't need to. It's going to be Grizz there to back him up, and Kings doing their best to close this gap, but they've yet to get anything remotely close to a full 60. Grizz with an opportunity right there to pick up 1, and they take out the final player around the corner. So finally an opportunity for Kings to find a big hold.
Impressive as well. Good spots there because Inferno's playing outside of the hill, catching the respawning players. Now Exclusive got 30 seconds left to try and claim, take it to 200 points, but Kings have got all the timings now. This really is how momentum can shift into the team, because now it comes down to perfect half point. Although Exclusive now managed to break on in, the spawns needs to be read, and really it's a case of hot potato. Can you flip in time and can you read it in time?
Thing is, Kings can't afford to keep going 40-20. You need a full 60 at some point right here because Exclusive have eclipsed that 200-point mark. Raid going to be able to find 1 off the heady right there, so they cut off rotations. And there should be a straight shot for all 4 of these Kings players to make their way into the hard point. 1 player there to contest. That's going to be Creed. What type of damage can he do? They've got the close side spawns. Right now, Creed with an opportunity to take down Inferno. The information should be there, but the 1 player on the inside of that building is not going to be able to take him down, but Inferno does the damage anyway. And once again, Kings putting themselves in position to succeed. Can they win the gunfights?
Exclusive have the backside. They won the fights there. Inferno's still holding on, and it's really difficult now for Exclusive to get in. They have great instances where they're set up for the kills, but they can't seem to find their way through. It just comes down to the trades. It comes down to how much can Kings apply the pressure, and they are. The respawners are just in between every segment and every single team wipe they need. Really, this now is going to be a bit more of a closer game. 23 seconds to hold. Kings got a great chance of doing it.
And Exclusive are taking so much time trying to flip those backside spawns that they've allowed the entire hardpoint to go uncontested. They finally break on through. 20 seconds to be gained, but that means that Kings are perfectly set up toward P4. That scrap time could be big for Exclusive, but you've got to find a way to break on through right here. Fortunately for them, they've got 3 operators to try to do it.
Ooh, this initial is going to be absolutely huge here. Kings are already on there, but Exclusive are just playing a bit slower now. They want the Rees to be there, and even when Caesar there spawns in the back, it creates a wonderful split. But look at the pressure here. Kings have overloaded onto the point. It's going to be 2 heads to shoot at, but no way to get on. As now as the Hunter Killer drone is called in, Exclusive here have got such a tough job now to try and get this. They've been in 200 points for like 6 hills here, Bobby.
Grizz gonna get shut down right there. Creed gets on the point to be able to contest right here. Exclusive gladly taking any amount of tick they can get. The War Machine does get shut down right there. Marvel, 2 with the Annihilator, but he gets traded out. Grizz nearly finds 2 for himself. Says there to reinforce. It's so tight here on P4. It's so back and forth between these 2 squads, but Kings get the better of the trades. 3 make it 4 in the feed right there. They continue to chip away at this lead as it Exclusive continue to spawn down toward that ramp side and have not found any avenue. Any amount of scrap time they could get would be huge right now, but Kings continue to avoid it.
Both teams fighting for control, a head-to-head here, but Exclusive just have the numbers ready for this new hill to pop up. Kings, though, having spawns close with 1 player on a large flank, Exclusive are looking to time these kills perfectly. They have the pathing, they have the read. Now the utility needs to go in. It needs to be a case of how can you read this pressure and how can you eliminate these players?
The break has to be perfect, and it is. Kings have made their way into the hard point. Exclusive 12 points shy, but they have struggled to get any sizable amount of hard point. Like you said, sitting around that 200-point mark for so long. Kings playing as well as they possibly can, but Exclusive have broken on in. Veer is there. Raid's got to find the trade, and he does. The reinforcements are on the way for Exclusive. Can they get on the hard point is the question. Veer gonna be able to lock down the backside in only a couple more seconds. What can the War Machine do? It's not going to be enough, and Exclusive take map 1.
Well, that right there was something special. We came into this one saying exclusive. If they got to do well, maybe a search and destroy, but that hard point was clinical. What a pick and what a map. I mean, bear in mind, Bobby, let's talk about the proceedings of that. 100-point gap at the start, but really King started getting those 460s like you wanted. Then it became an issue of, right, are they reading the pressure? Are they getting the spawns right? Because I think when it came to winning the areas of control to take these maps, it really was down to exclusives dominance.
Yeah, and it was very much predicated on the way they played the front half of that map. Just a very unusual map from Kings, and something that I think Brody talked about at the beginning was, are they able to come out a little bit stronger in the Arsenal hardpoint? And that was certainly not the case right there. Obviously, sizable struggles for the SMGs and the shotguns, as Grizz is one of the players we've had eyes on. It does pick up 2 minutes in the hardpoint, but goes -10 right there. And Exclusive just built way too much of a lead off the front side of that one for Kings to be able to close the gap effectively.
We knew this was quite a high kill game, but having 4 players from Exclusive above 30 kills with relative 1.2 KDs is just insane. Everybody was doing something at a different time, and they were sharing the pressure collectively. There wasn't a moment where one player had to do everything, and it would sort of cause problems in the latter portion. Everyone was pulling their weight, and still, I think when it came to the takes, the War Machine usage and the Annihilate usage was just so key. It made the difference.
Yeah, it definitely felt like especially during the middle of the game where it started to slip away for Kings, there were a lot of individual plays where they just kind of played in their own zones, and the teamwork for Exclusive was simply better at so many different turns that once the lead had built to what it was, probably, I think at its largest was 180 to 100, which is not something that Kings have really seen at any point throughout the season. So phenomenal job for them to bring things back, but they had just allowed Exclusive to build too much of a lead that they were in a really nasty spot to try to take that much hardpoint time with only 12 seconds to spare.
We did see Kings kind of get in there. I think when it came to the sort of fifth hill to the the second set of rotations, they were holding 60, 50 seconds. I think as soon as you said they're getting 40s and 20s, they've got to do something. I think they listened to you. They actually heard you out there and started playing really well and winning most of the hills in conviction fashion. I would say, though, again, that lead was built up for so long. We did think it might slip away because Kings are that team where you think, you know what, they can do it because they're just Kings. But still, I think that was an impressive map for Exclusive and 1-0 to kick off.
Yeah, and that's something that we even saw for them when they were going up against Omniscient. Both the hardpoint maps that they won, they were at a pretty significant deficit and still able to reel things back in. So I was very much anticipating that they were going to have a repeat of that one, but weren't able to make it happen. But the jump shot out of Marvel, clean as can be. Veer doesn't even know what hit him. Creed's going to be able to return the favor. And just like that into a 4v4, but very, very passive approach off the start for Exclusive.
Exclusive still have a sniper online. Kings now are just sort of playing with rifles here. Unless Inferno can get forward. I think that when it comes to the setup here, A is going to be heavily contested. But look at the B push. It's going to be Say's reading all the information. But once the plan comes in, the play call comes in, it's about regrouping and getting numbers there. I still like the equipment though for Grizz just to remain on B.
Oh, terrible timing for Neil. Should have had the angle right there. Inferno going to be forced to back off barrels right there. And Creed not able to connect on the quick scope. Once again, they've gotten that map control up toward the bomb site. But are you able to get the planter onto the bomb is the question. No trophies to work with for them right here. Creed finally able to get things down, but you got Grizz on the inside of trailer still to deal with.
Bomb is committed. 41 seconds left. Kings now start to make the first move on the chessboard. Really no fights to be taken, just a few shots going down and maybe spamming through the wall just to get some damage done.
Ooh, little shoulder right there. Inferno's able to cross. Once again, you got to deal with Neil, and he has been such a huge asset for this Exclusive squad. Spy's going to be able to find one. Another for Neil. All down to Inferno right here, and it's a 1v3, not meant to be. An Exclusive looking for redemption as they take the hard point and they get out to a nice start here in the search and destroy as well.
Brody went very in on the fact that Exclusive were impressed for S&D, only lost one so far, and that was the Kings, right? So now we are going to be seeing hopefully a new look, reinvigorated side. But set nades do go off, and so far no one really tagged up comparison to the last round where it was a jump shot snipe, instant phase trick shot to kick us off. We're now going to be a bit slowered.
Right now, Raid working barrels right here. Inferno, sniper in hand, can be able to find first blood. Bomb should be able to go down right here, but Kings seem fairly comfortable giving up the plant as you get 2 players looking to wrap through wood. And all the pressure on Neil on that backside to cut off any type of flank pressure right here. What can he find as he has eyes through wood? And that's 4 players looking to collapse right here. Should have that information, but is he going to be able to connect? And he's not, but there's the second shot. He finds another, and just like that, the retake is completely shut down by Exclusive.
That was one of the rounds of the year, surely. I mean, it came down to one POV. We saw the X-rays cross the middle of the map. I mean, Exclusive just went, you know what? Let's do it. Why not? What we got to lose? We already took a hard point off them. Let's make it even more spicy. But again, new round, new Exclusive. Still though, Kings need to find a way forward. Nice break off here though, having 2-1A already.
I mean, that was just a clinical read. They knew exactly what that retake was going to look like and tore them to pieces. So now 4v4 information should be gained for Kings, as once again, I haven't had a difficult time figuring out whether or not it's going to be an A hit. It's just been a question of, can you make the adjustments to stop it? And the answer has been no for the most part. A couple more picks do go through. Spy, nice pre-fire to shut down Inferno. And once again, Exclusive gained the man advantage. Pressure from both sides for Kings. And the question is, will they be able to find a pick here? You got Grizz with a shotgun, and then Marvel holding down that A-long angle. More than likely, the pressure going to be on to Marvel to find that first pick.
It's a minute left and 5 players on the map. I love this from Kings as well because it's playing static, and despite it all, it's now a 2v2. Bomb is not committed anywhere, but look at this already. Kings wrapping back to safety, calling in for support. So maybe what could happen here now is they could be playing more aggressive. Because again, they're playing static on both sides, just waiting for a kill. Once they've got the kill, now they can start playing together in a 2v2.
Marvel trying to find an angle from inside American. Grizz, what can he find? Makes his way up to barrels right there, but does not want to peek that angle. Marvel's going to be the one that has to do it. Throws his shoulder right here, trying to catch him off guard, but there it is. Marvel hits the snipe and make it a second. Clean on the retake. Kings, a much needed round right there, and completely at the hands of Marvel as he picks up kill number 4.
A very textbook 2v3, if you will. Both players on either side, they waited for it. I was maybe hoping Exclusive would at least, you know, flood because they had the numbers. Just didn't happen. They were playing static for too long. Wasn't meant to be. Now we head into round number 4. It's going to be very, very spicy here. Exclusive breaking off, spreading the map. Kings, though, coming heavy towards mid and B. Only 1 and A this time.
Get one player to apply pressure. That's going to be Veer trying to find info over toward B. One player up in the mid map. Says, seeing if he can find anything for himself. And Inferno going to get spotted, but Veer's not afforded the kill because Neil has already done the damage. The bomb, once again, in hand on the backside of Wood. Marvel looking for that jump shot. Once again, not going to be able to connect right there, but at least gets the information that there are players on that jungle side. But they're going to look to full send on into A right here, and nobody really there to gain information. So once again, Kings sticking with this plan, sending 2 players sandbags to try to find a pinch angle. Question is, can they get timing to go their way? That's going to be Raid finding the opening kill.
I love this play. Still 4v4, still bomb is down. Kings are aggressing already really fast here through trailer. And they have at least sights on. Exclusive have kind of played more defensive here in static. They've given up bomb just for at least a read of the pressure. But Kings have stacked early on. It's really impressive. It's good enough. And now it starts to pile on in. Only going to be down to 1 player.
God. I mean, Spy's just snapping on people right now. 9 kills on the board through the first 4 rounds. And Exclusive take yet another round in convincing fashion right there, as Kings have just not really had any type of response for their A push other than a god tier retake out of Marvel, hitting some crazy shots like he does. Caesar gets pushed up right here. Can he find any mid-map control? Raid's gonna read it right there, so he's getting shut down, but Spy, 10 kills on the board already. He makes it 11 as he gets eyes onto Raid. Marvel doing everything he can to find some type of response for this King squad. And I think Veer got spotted out from the backside. Nade connects for Inferno, and the retake is on right here. What can Spy find? He's been untouchable so far and continues to be, as Grizz now tries to peek over top with the R9 in hand, but there's Marvel, sniper in hand, and it's all down to Neil. Can't connect for the quick scope right there. And with 1 player on the flank, this should be a clinical retake for Kings as they get the shutdown. Grizz with the kill, and they do manage to take the round.
Oh, so impressive as well. We know how much of a win condition Neil can be in these 1v2s, but it was the timing as well. Wasn't really rushing the flank. Did you notice that? Didn't want any audio cues given away despite the nades going on, the shots going down. Very clever from Kings. Still 2-3. Now, round number 6. We're going to be looking at something tasty, especially given the exclusive now are slowly losing the momentum. Set nades do go off through mid. A nice first blood is drawn, though, to kick things off.
That's exactly what you're looking for. Neil with the sniper. Dominant as can be. Spy 12 kills through 5 rounds. Just stupid good numbers right now as they're able to get the palm down on A. And once again, Kings have not had much of an issue with it. It's just been a question of what can they do on the retake. Marvel trying to find one on that cross from mid, and at bare minimum gets information that one player is wrapped toward wood, but they got to start making moves right here. 28 seconds, shot's not going to connect. Neil's going to be able to shut down Marvel. Caesar 1 on to Says, make it 2 right there, and now all down to Raid. He's shut down, and a convincing offensive side for Exclusive as they come away with it with a 4-2 lead.
Yeah, sides are going to switch now, and again, a 2-round deficit for either or. I really look forward to seeing how Kings can adapt now on what seems to be maybe a favourite side. You know better than me, Bobby. But Exclusive thus far. Set nades go through. Smokes spot middle of the map. Great cross coming in as Kings now set off on a very aggressive opening break-off.
Not going to be able to find any first bloods here. Obviously, largely depending on Marvel to find those. He's not going to have any angles to work with right here. Inferno not going to be able to connect for that shot. Exclusive are very comfortable to sit back and wait for something to happen, but that's what happens when you give Marvel the opportunity. Neil's going to be shut down right there. That's a significant presence out of the way. Now what do? Looking through the mid-map, seeing if you can find an angle. You know Caesar's tucked away on the inside of trailer. He doesn't want to give any opportunities, but it's going to be Marvel picking up yet another kill on Devere.
Yeah, I know, and in an important position as well. Now it forces Creed to drop down and try and regain the spot, but sadly, not to be. 5v2 now, minute left on the board, and Exclusive have just been picked apart from the very start.
I'm usually not a big fan of the whole let the snipers sit back and find the first bloods, but when you've got Marvel on your team, why not? He gets, what, 3 to open that one up, and the Kings handle business from there. So they bounce back right here, bring things to within 1 round, and for Exclusive right now, the question is, can anyone besides Spy get going? He's got 13 kills so far, and that's nearly the exact same number as the entire rest of the team combined. It's a full send on over to B. What type of response can Spy have right here? He's got a shotgun to deal with, but able to find one anyway. The flash is perfect, but Neil shut down, and just like that, the B side has been captured.
Still the 1 player left in there. Creto knows how many are out there, doesn't want to risk it, calls for help, and that's why Caesar comes in. Now the reads are good, and still though needs to clear a few more angles. Very risky sliding in there, but you know what? Check right, and you will find a few more to meet your acquaintance. 122 left, and still as they get eliminated, ever so slowly, 1v1 to bring us back into it.
Some speedy gunfights right here. Veer versus Says. Veer with the sniper in hand, but Says actually going to opt to wrap all the way back toward that A side. And this could be perfectly played, as obviously now Veer, no information to work with. But Say's gonna actually counterplay right here as he wraps back into the B site. Or maybe just looking for info right here. Still 50 seconds to work with, but timing does not go his way. Veer on the flank, gonna be able to shut him down. And Say's maybe trying to get a little too fancy with it right there. Ends up paying for it.
Now we're in round 9. I mean, Exclusive there won that crucial 1v1 in convincing fashion. Love it because it was just such an elongated 1v1. It was too long really to get Kings any sort of, you know, takeaways from the round. Still set things go through. Nice from Exclusive though. Aggressive on A. Just to feel it out, but Kings haven't committed bomb yet. Still needs to be thrown. They're saving theirs for potential retake or even a site clear if they need it. But look at the 1v1 here.
Grizz gets spotted. He exits. Already weak and gives Spy a kill for free. So now Kings sit down 2 players. Grizz only 1 kill on the board through 9 rounds right here. And once again, seemingly all on to Marvel's back to try to clutch up a round for them. He's been able to find a couple for them single-handedly, but with the map control that Exclusive have right now, it is not going to be easy. Spy all the way pushed up toward this treehouse area. Say's gonna get spotted out, and Spy is just not missing a bullet with his AK. All down to Marvel, 1v5, not meant to be. An Exclusive on the brink of going up 2-0 in this series.
Those last 2 rounds were textbook Call of Duty. I mean, even in the positions where they had all the numbers, they just isolated bomb carrier, and then there was no way they'll get back into that round. Now, for the second map in the series, potentially, set names go through. Heavy on A this time for Kings. Love it as they try to get a few angles across the board. 1v1s though will take place in the map.
The slow pushes have just not worked out for them, so they throw a different look right here. Caesar going to try to back up. He ends up paying for it, and Kings looked like they were finally going to find a man advantage, but Creed's going to be able to shut down one. Inferno with the trade, and into a 3v3 right here. A lot of pressure onto Creed to find at least one pick here. But that's all right. You got Neil to do the work as he picks Inferno. Spy, pre-fire, can't connect, and now into a 2v2.
Bomb isn't committed, though. They have control of it, but they want to clear it. I mean, Exclusive are nowhere near the site, so this really is a dream situation for Exclusive to try and retake. But again, isolation's a key, and they have a rough idea on where to look. I mean, when it comes to the reads, this is going to be a missed opportunity coming in from Neil.
Oh, man, just terrible timing for him as Marvel's going to be able to sneak through, but the shot through the bottom side of the bomb, and just like that, Raid is left all alone in a 1v2. Can't get the timing to go his way. Neil finds another pick. 11 kills for him, 16 for Spy. And Exclusive take the unexpected 2-0 lead in the series.
I eat my words. If plan A doesn't come off, plan B definitely will. That was an insane wallbang. And 7-3 to close it out. Now this, Bobby, is uncharted territory for us. We were not expecting to see Exclusive 2-0 up in winners finals.
I don't really know what to make of this one, to be honest. Like, this is, Uncharted is an understatement. Obviously, we've seen them down in the series at the beginning of the season up against Omniscient, but ever since then, they have been fully in control of every series that we've seen them play. Exclusive now on the brink of sending the Kings to the lower bracket. Even last season when Kings had a slow regular season in the playoffs, they completely dominated, and they fall apart right there as Inferno says Grizz not able to find anything, and really Kings just failed to find any successful adjustments on those A pushes out of Exclusive.
I think it's important to mention as well, Spy, you highlighted him quite a lot there. 16-5 that map, and I'm not sure if 194 impact score is high, but that definitely, in comparison to the likes of Kings, I think that rider might be a sole representative of player of the map.
I would agree with that one. Yeah. It was, I really anticipated that on the offensive side, we would see Kings throw something at them outside of the, we'll just sit back and let Marvel find picks and pray that it works out for us. It's just so much pressure to put onto one player. And once again, so much credit to Spy for just throwing so many different looks at them. He was a menace to deal with on that B site. The fact that he was able to find any kills out of this situation really put Kings into a difficult position. And Grizz today just not quite looking like himself, I think, especially in the search and destroy. Obviously, not a super shotgun-friendly map, but you got to find ways to make adjustments, and he was not able to do that. So Neil does the final damage in that round. Nasty wall bit, or I guess bomb bang. Yeah. Close things out right there. And now Exclusive get ready to head into a control map to see if they can close things out. It is going to be a raid that I believe Kings have not lost all season.
Yeah, so that's very important to highlight as well. We have to highlight the mentality in terms of how are Kings feeling right now. This is the first time ever I've really seen them down 0-2. We're going into their best game mode though. So, Bobby, not all hope is lost, and in fact a lot of confidence too. We've seen raid and then play it throughout the entirety of Snapdragon. Realistically, I mean, they're actually kind of shaking a little bit, given the circumstances.
Yeah, I think at this point, the history and the map counts kind of go out the window, because this is, once again, very much uncharted territory. Not for them just to go down, but for them to do it in pretty convincing fashion on that firing range S&D 2. Definitely, I mean, it's obviously a must-win map, because if you lose the series. So we'll see what Kings can respond with off the start of this one, and that's what you like to see. Marvel first blood. They get a read on one player looking to push through mid. Very, very back and forth off the start, and it is completely even off the trades right here.
And Exclusive now looking to try and push onto B, but still a few players from Kings there say little about it. They win the fights, and again, time now is going to be the essence here. Ticks are so important, especially in the earlier rounds. As Kings now are supporting on the south side, great player positioning to initiate that first of all. They have to make sure, though, that they can read the sort of pathing they're going to take. I mean, reality here, they can play for B comfortably. A great route, though, from Creed there on the east side of the map.
He is going to get shut down. But that's B completely captured now for Exclusive, and it hasn't really cost you a whole lot of lives. You still sit up 2 right here, and if you can clear some mid-map control, should have an avenue to get some pressure onto A, and that's exactly what you got to do. Caesar shuts down Raid right here. Looking to make his way on into Kitchen. You got a shotgun to deal with, but does not miss a bullet. Flicks on to Grizz right there, and this is the opportunity as he pushes through toward that top side spawn. Veer going to be able to find the last kill, and players have now made their way onto that A objective. Caesar clears through window, and full control of this A site right now for Exclusive. Kings have got to do something.
Crucial kills coming in from Creed. Now listen, they can still repopulate basketball court. Kings have got the reader, but the Hunter Killer drone will keep them at bay. They have to try and fence their way back into the control site. They got to jump, they got to fly.
5 kills between the two. Exclusive continue to stack onto the point. Veer's got to get dealt with. Creed looking to reinforce right here. Raid in the top side, looking to find an angle, but the spokes give them a little bit of clearance, and Say's going to be forced onto the point. Veer can continue to chill right here. Creed finds the final kill, and that's Exclusive taking round 1.
Okay, now this is definitely April Fool's Day to some degree. A very impressive round there from Exclusive, and it was convincing too. They had all the right control areas. Basketball court was not going to be met with any aggression from Kings, and they were forced into choke points where they were going to inevitably die. So now, into round number 2. Again, set names go through onto the B site, but still Kings here might not get it.
Even though the kills were fairly even, I would say that was one of the more dominant control rounds that we've seen out of Exclusive. Creed responds, War Machine, what can he find? You've already had Grizz picking up 2, maybe 3 kills right there, but trades back the opposite direction. You avoid at least some of that life disparity that started to build, but Kings dominant control over on the B side. Nothing to work with through those smokes right there, and Neil gonna get shut down. So with that, Exclusive gonna be left licking their wounds and wrapping back on over toward the A side.
Still though, I think when it comes to kitchen control here, Ray's got that already locked down. And look at the players now from King, still 2 going to fence through the cutouts. And look at the aggression from the east side. Now Exclusive are fenced in basketball courts. They're going to throw a War Machine in there too. It's going to be a firing squad situation here.
Neil able to find 2 right there, but traded out. Marvel gonna invest the Annihilator, but he gets taken down immediately. Not sure if he's gonna get any charge back on that one. And the round's not quite over for Exclusive, but you've got to shut down this wave and see if you can reset right here. 4 operators for them to work with. Neil's gonna pop the claw. Creed, shaky shots right there, and he not able to find a kill that he absolutely should have been able to have. Inferno does get taken off of his operator right there, so Exclusive, once again, the round's not over, but with the life lead built the way that it is, you got to question whether or not it's going to be worth it to invest anything else, and it doesn't look like they will.
18-8. Yeah, Kings now can still play for time here. They just want to get positioning awareness and maybe get some kills on the board. I mean, Ray has been so good at playing the rats and just keeping it in contention, but still, we're down to the last few.
He's on a 6 spree right there. Exclusive down to 2 lives. And once again, no real reason to invest anything right here. You'll gladly let Kings get things locked down, and with those 2 lives going away, we tie things up at 1-1. Definitely a lot more convincing than the first round that we saw out of Exclusive. So still maybe some hope for Kings. They've got 4 operators charged and ready to go. So they're going to look to get aggressive right here. We'll see what they can find on the B side.
2 offenses, 1 from both sides. Maybe a little bit of strategy change wouldn't be a bad idea. Again, though, we are seeing Kings take the first few kills off the board and control over the B side. Now, these new spawns coming in here for Exclusive are going to be at least a bit of aggression. Marble has the reads.
Big kill right there to take down one of the pool sides. Say's seeing if he can find anything. Definitely an unusually slow start for him, but the War Machine is able to connect right there. Traded out by Creed, but once again, response from Raid. The trades do go better for Exclusive right here, though, and that's going to allow Creed to push all the way up. Grizz looking to set up the spawn trap, though, on that garage side, and that's why you see that early investment. it's not going to last very long. Is Inferno now going to be left all by his lonesome on the inside of Garage? An Exclusive going to be able to deal with him. So once again, they get onto that A objective and are able to stop the clock.
Have positioning as well. Good headies on basketball court, but when it comes to the players losing sight here, we are seeing Kings populate B. Realistically, it's distracting towards Exclusive because they haven't got the numbers here to meet the aggression, and it's just a real situation where we know what's going to happen. We know the spawns. We know exactly how they're going to play for us, especially when we are caught in the blender. But now we are going to be seeing just B left alive, and Kings have realistically now got every single choke point set up.
Spy should have had eye on that tack laser, but oh, terrible timing for him on ADS right there. Another kill just devastating, and Raid can't be touched on the inside of Red Room. So that's 3 kills in a row for him and completely resets the push out of this Exclusive squad. Gonna make the read on Neil as well, making a 5th. Can he find a 6th? Not meant to be, but the damage has been done. Marvel's gonna pop the Annihilator right here. Will he be able to find any value toward that driveway side? Yes, he will. Nothing on Neil though. Crucial trade, but still way too late for Exclusive to find any type of value. And to be honest, maybe would have liked to see Marvel save that Annihilator given the position they were in the round regardless. King should be able to close things out right here as Raid picks up another 2-piece. And he has just been a walking laser beam. 25 kills on the board for him.
Since he's been brought back into the fold for Kings, we are just seeing a whole new look to their style. It's just rewarding in this stage of the season, given how important we're getting, especially because they're around the corner. We wouldn't mind seeing Ray on main stage. I certainly wouldn't, especially given now that Kings are going to be playing now with a 2-1 lead. Again, on the offensive side here, a heavy commitment towards A.
Annihilator comes out. Nothing off the first shot. Can he find the second? Inferno trying to push up through the smoke. And that's not a whole lot of value. Kings do a phenomenal job of responding to the heavy investment off the start for Exclusive right there. Only 2 operators remain, but their operators do get traded out as well. Kings getting the better of the trades right here. Full control over toward the B side, and only 1 player there to respond. Caesar needs value. Nothing to be found.
Still though, I think Ray is playing so good on the island. Exclusive now just trying to kill him. There's no point in facing objective play, especially when there's now a deficit of 6 lives, and B is the main progression now. I think Kings here have got such good pressure, despite the kills in mid and the streaks being called in. It just looks to be that Kings here want to play for a full continuous trap around the map.
It really feels like Raid is just single-handedly winning the map for them. There has been no room for error for Exclusive because they've been spending so much time trying to hunt him down and get him off streaks that the objectives have just been completely free for the rest of the squad. He's going to call in the equalizer right there, gets information. Is he going to ego chow right here? Yes, he is, and shuts down Spy off the heady. That's going to give them money room control and should allow the reinforcements to flood on through Kitchen. With a 10-life lead, this should be an all but guaranteed round for this King squad as more operators start to come out.
I mean, listen, when it comes to Ray playing so well inside of Cash, it completely changes the break-off for Exclusive. They can't push through Kitchen anymore. They have to full front basketball. It's terrible, especially when the utility has to be naded perfectly. There's only so many smokes they can use. 14-7, 80 seconds left in the round, and still, it's going to be just down to Caesar alone.
Yeah, he's going to get isolated right there. Inferno there for the shutdown. Veer, nice response to find a snipe, but 13-2. Doesn't look like this one was meant to be. Spy going to be there to trade 1, but once again, you got to deal with the players on the objective. There's a hunter killer in the sky, and Neil is left all alone. Sniper in hand, probably not where you want to be. Kings bounce back. They find the opening and look to try to start the reverse sweep.
I mean, it is on. I think we talked last series, me and Brody, quite intense about we haven't seen a reverse sweep at all. And realistically speaking, we actually have now seen, you know, map 4 is quite common in particularly my last series. But I think what is going to be the main selling point here is Exclusive. Now, that first hardpoint we watched was, is it a fluke or is it, you know, like genuine improvement?
Yeah, that's really the question, and it definitely seemed like they had made sizable improvements at multiple points. I think one of the things you got to keep an eye on is the fact that Grizz has just not really quite looked like himself. Better performance right there. But obviously the win was largely off the back of Raid and the work that he was doing. 35-14, just stupid numbers right there as he nearly single-handedly carries them to a win in the control. thing is, heading into takeoff, more than likely this is going to be an exclusive map pick, which is going to make it that much more difficult for Kings.
I think just to highlight Ray just one last time on that last map, I was eyeing up the round 4 and he was on 31 kills at the start. So he got 4 kills in that last round. That really was sort of the team's dynamic there coming into the fray of things, but still just such a dominant performance. And now we're going into the next map. Now we're going into uncharted territory for Kings.
Yeah, it's definitely a scary place to be. No margin for error. It definitely seems like they've regained a little bit of their confidence, and I think especially with Raid playing the way that he has, and the fact that I would consider Takeoff to be one of Grizz's better maps, they absolutely have an opportunity to force a map 5, and even if they're able to do so, it's going to be an uphill battle given the fact that Exclusive have looked really, really good on the map that they picked right there. So if you're Kings, like, it's still an uphill battle regardless of the outcome. Even if you win the hard point, very, very difficult path ahead.
I think we have to really go forward in this hard point with the mindset of, let's see how the first 60 seconds go. I mean, again, when it comes to the start of every hard point in P1, it's either a fight for control or it's like we get a lot of time in this and then sacrifice the next 4 hills. Realistically speaking, Exclusive in the time from round 1 to now have developed quite a, well, at least a set strategy against Kings anyway. I mean, when it came to their first series of today, it was a bit more like, well, if Omniscient are getting maps off them, have they improved really? I think we were shut up very quickly on the first 2 maps here.
And we were kind of questioning coming into this one, surprised to see Shark out of the rotation for Exclusive, given what a dominant force that he's been. But the fact that Exclusive already have looked so much better than they did the first time around up against Kings, once again, makes it look like maybe one of those roster changes that you don't really expect based on the numbers, but the team might just work better this way, and they're going to look to send the Kings to the lower bracket in this one. We'll see what they can do right here, and we'll actually not see as a little reset right here.
Okay.
And
they did their most, especially in the first few seconds. You know what? Let's go more further into what to expect. I think in terms of Kings right now, again, we've talked macro. We've talked exactly about how they could potentially reverse sweep, and that is just because of their caliber and what we expect of them now, currently. If we were to potentially see them in lower bracket, what sort of... well, first it'll be a harder road for them, but what sort of expectations now would then change for us?
I mean, I think that regardless of what happens for Kings right here, I think they have proven the most out of any of the European teams. I don't anticipate they're going to have a difficult time with any of the teams in the lower bracket. Obviously, we saw Omniscient take them to a map 5 earlier in the season, but that was very early in the season when Omniscient realistically looked a lot stronger, or maybe it was just Kings looking weaker. Obviously, there's a chance that they could go up against Mont as well, but no question Mont have the most to prove out of all the teams that remain in this competition. So I would say regardless of the outcome, I feel like Kings are still the team to beat, but it would be quite a feat for Exclusive if they could do just that right here on this takeoff.
Set nades go free, kick things off here, and really it's a foot race straight to P1. Kings have got more of a spread break off. They want to get the angles isolated straight away. Flashes go through in already. We've seen the first few trades go down, and now when Kings try to at least segregate themselves across the map, the hill's going to be fought for contention. Again, though, great positioning there coming in from Inferno.
Raid, opening kill, and once again going to be able to read one, but the quickscope out of Neil is there, and that's 4 in the feed for Exclusive. So that's going to relieve some of that pressure for players on the objective, but Grizz comes flying through with a shotgun in hand. He's going to be able to shut down True, but once again, trades are there, and it's going to be Exclusive locking in the edges of this map. Nobody in the hard point right now. Kings do have those stronger spawns toward P2. Say's going to slide out, but not able to win the gunfight, as once again, at least on the hard point, Exclusive looking a lot more convincing.
Yeah, still no time to be had as the final 2 kills come in. Exclusive now will run onto it. 20 seconds left and only a slight lead. Now positioning ourselves or posturing up for P2. And realistically speaking again here, it's good movement from Exclusive. They've got the high-low strategy and they're employing lots of utility.
Not only do they get those first 27 seconds in the hard point, but perfect setup toward P2 right here. Is Spy going to be able to read this one player on the low ground right there? That's going to be Say's shut down, and once again, Kings in a really difficult spot. spawning all the way across the map. Pressure onto Inferno to find at least one on the pinch right here. He's going to be able to do that. So now pressure from the backside of those spawns, but Caesar there to respond, able to find two. Exclusive continue to lock in the hard point time as a big time kill comes out of Veer to shut down those rotations and make it 2. They continue to stack up time. Kings only 5 seconds so far.
25 left on this, and Grizz now just trying to at least apply his trade here for the last few. But we do look towards especially how this is going. I mean, listen, lots of contestants here, and Exclusive clearly so much more comfortable in these fighting for control moments. When Creed can get around the back of the map and just isolate these kills on the respawns, it creates an issue now where, again, Kings are going to be nowhere near the next hill, but realistically speaking, they might just about get on to new.
And Raid, who is an absolute nightmare to deal with on map 3, only 1 kill on the board. He has been in the blender, and Creed with a little bit extra English on that one. He's got a 5 spree as he finally gets shut down. Kings finally with an opportunity. They hit that early rotation toward P3, desperately need a strong chain right here between this and P4. And Inferno locking in the high ground with the claw in hand, should get some information and a couple more kills. For the time being, the players on the objective should have a little bit of breathing room, but not going to hear the footsteps up above, and that's going to be Caesar breaking through.
That's 33 huge seconds where Exclusive now can look for 100 points realistically. Kings now are just applying the pressure, but still spawns are going to favor them only for a little bit in terms of breaking. Their play call's different. They're going for a rotation. Very smart. You can go for maybe a 70-point gap here. If you want to get the full 16, employ it. I mean, hey, great look. I think now it needs to be retain the lives, try not to get traded as much as possible, but look at the coverage here already. 2 players stuck in a hill.
This is a really early rotation for how close these two hard points are to each other. That's going to allow Veer to already get out and apply pressure toward that next hard point. Inferno's going to be able to cut off 1 on rotation right here, but King's still in position. It's just a question of, are those 19 seconds that you just gave up for free actually going to end up being worth it? So far, they've been able to make it worth their while, but Creed gets pushed up right here. Veer working that stair heady, able to clear off those players spawning in the backside, and Creed very happy to just own some contest time right here. And he's going to pick up a shotgun for himself and see what he can do to battle with Grizz. Big kill to open things up for Exclusive once again.
Still, though, I think playing Static here is Creed's best bet, because now we're seeing Kings trying to isolate 2 different paths. Simply not going to be a rewarding factor. The shotgun's too lethal in close quarters combat.
Creed says, I am the captain now, shuts down Grizz as well. They keep things contested right there. Grizz finally breaks on through, but the equalizer in the hands of Raid going to be enough to clear out the hard point. At the bare minimum, afford those extra 10 seconds of scrap time, but still a large gap to be closed right now for this King squad. Pretty heavy push toward P4 given how much time is remaining right there. Grizz is going to be able to push out and find yet another kill. So I would say King's doing about everything they could hope to do off the backside of that one, not only picking up the scrap time, but shutting down the push, but it has not mattered with Creed completely locking down P1 once again.
Yeah, and look at this free time as well. I think 5 seconds before any contact happens, Exclusive now can look to sort of rework. I think, though, these are really big kills from Neil. Great high ground, especially, again, because the AK isn't truly meta. Now, the effectiveness on this map has been sublime. I think in terms of isolating these long-range kills and not really letting Kings get anywhere near the hard point has shown to be a true win condition.
Creed able to find another one. Trying to cut off those rotations. Once again, here's the footsteps, and that's another kill going the way of Exclusive. It has been so ridiculously one-sided with the exception of Marvel, who once again feels like so many times has had to try to just put this King squad on his back. Veer's going to be able to shut down yet another right there. Saves with a 2-piece with a nade in hand. But once again, only so much that can be done with the lead that we've seen built in. It's once again nearly a 100-point lead for Exclusive on this second set of hard points.
Kings just have got 56 seconds so far. Haven't really found any pressure, but the final wave of kills there does get scrap time. Or, sorry, initial 50 seconds left there to try and get themselves back into it. Can play for 112. Annihilator online, though, does help to at least clear some space outside of the hill.
They get the first 20 seconds right here, so that's a stepping stone, but Caesar's going to respond. Players shut down, equalizers taken out of the equation. And once again, Raid trying to get going. Grizz on the top side is going to get shut down as well. And that is a prime position to have a claw. Another kill goes through for Exclusive as they lock in more time here on P2. Creed wins another fight on the backside of that one. And now Raid left all alone, just hoping the reinforcements arrive in time. They do not. Creed there for the shutdown. Grizz looking to get these last 10 seconds of scrap time, but that should open up a free rotation right here for Exclusive. A little bit of split spawn situation though, and that's only going to be one player rotated out early. Grizz got to try to find these opening kills going up against Creed.
Splits be a problem for Kings rather than Exclusive, given their lead and given the position of this hill. Yes, the head-to-heads are there, and it's pretty much even pressure here in terms of contention. But realistically speaking, Ray on the outside has to at least maybe support in the middle. I think in terms of the reads and in terms of getting these players from Exclusive to go further out and maybe get some time on the board, Kings do need it. Maybe not a bad idea, but still, 41 seconds left here. Fight for control will end up in Kings' favor.
Definitely needed to find more opportunity out of that equalizer. Now the pressure on Devere to see if he can break through with an Annihilator right here. Gonna be tough in these close angles, especially with Grizz locking down that back doorway with a shotgun. Gonna be able to find two, but can't make it a third. Grizz is there for response and will hold the line for the time being, but Caesar goes big with the Sparrow, able to clear the hard point, leaves them spawning in the backside, and sets them up for a perfect chain toward P4. Gonna be able to find two more with the Switchblade in hand. This is the perfect setup for Exclusive to blow this one wide open. Now sitting up by 70 points. Kings will take the scrap, but Exclusive exactly where they want to be.
Oh, the War Machine as well is online. This is going to be terrible for the front side if Kings can't break through. Veer's dropping down as well just to support, but realistically now you've got to read the spawns. There's 4 players from Kings all in the middle. The Hunter drone gets thrown out, and then the reads come in for free.
War Machine goes big for Says. Does get traded out right there. A lot of investment for both teams. Grizz still alive with the Sparrows, so they find a way to break on in. And still 40 seconds to be gained right here. What kind of pressure can Exclusive apply? Not going to be enough to find that opening break. Raid finally gets going. Marvel, 40 kills on the board for him, and he's still going with the Annihilator right here. Neil trying to cut off any entry into this hard point, but Kings are very content to just sit and wait. Soaking up the hard point time. There's Grizz as once again, he is the king of the hard point for this King squad.
Big contest here from Neil. Even if he dies, you know, they want to make sure the time doesn't truly get in King's favor. 2 seconds is a lot in comparison to the 185 that Exclusive do have on the board. Now rotation is going to be big here, as we are seeing the shots coming in from Sage just to keep pressure off. 1v1s, though, will isolate lots of King's players, though, throughout the middle of the map. Exclusive now look to try and employ a good strategy here. 4 players are up right now, concurrently speaking. Hunter drone gets thrown out, though, and middle will get touched first by Exclusive.
Ooh, Caesar plays his life so well right there, able to pick up one. The hard point is cleared, and once again, Exclusive move upward. Grizz, a lot of pressure for him to find a kill onto that hard point. Neil zoning out that outside area, finds way on as well, and Marvel's not going to have enough time to pick up the kill. Kings cannot continue to allow this free P1 time. A hard point that's usually so easy to keep contested. They have not found any success on, and now Exclusive only 43 points, make it 37 points away from locking in the win.
20 seconds of scrap time left, and neither team really wants to commit to it. Again, Kings don't need it more than Exclusive do. I think that when it comes to contest, though, Veer just needs to play around the lives here. Has a good read of spawns, though, and again, that pressure alone will be enough to read out or ring true. Still, though, I mean, realistically speaking here again, the next hill's going to come online. Exclusive just about get 5 seconds here. When it comes to new, a 1v1's going to take place for that time.
Inferno on the top side has got to win at least one gunfight right here. Neil looking to hit the flank right here, and that's going to be the flip that they were looking for. EMP does go out, Raid equalizer. What can it find? Claw does come into play as well, and the feed goes fully blue. Inferno hopping out, gets shut down right there, and that's the opening for Exclusive. Caesar able to poke a hole right there. Says reads one on the flank, and the War Machine is going to come out for him, so the response with the operators is there for Kings, but they have got to play perfect hardpoint the rest of the way through. Equalizer's going to get shut down. They look to hold the line here.
Oh, it's a great lineup as well. Now just 4 players from Exclusive here just funneling into the top side of the hill, and realistically the War Machine will do a lot of damage in terms of taking control. And now we have to look for the last 20 seconds here. Kings will then cross 200 points. Exclusive and Kings in that turn will then fight for rotation. It'll be the biggest foot race thus far in terms of Kings staying alive in winners.
Says Streaks have been earned right here. He's got a Pred missile. That could be crucial information. But looking at exclusive, there's 4 operators charged and ready to go. They want to lock down things and win here on P3. And they've got the setup to do it. Players are there. Reinforcements arrive. Marvel, boxing gloves. That's not going to be enough for more than one player. They've got this completely locked down, and they've got the utility to take the win here. Neil, Claw, able to find one. They continue to zone out. Kings are forced to take the long route, and that's one player spawning on the close side. He's going to get shut down. There's still a war machine to keep them zoned out. Creed's going to be able to find another. Only 5 seconds for Kings to make their way into the hard point. One player's there, but he's going to get shut down, and exclusive hold the line, and they dethrone the Kings and send them to the lower bracket.
Well, what have we just watched? I think that was gotta be the biggest upset so far in the ESL Snapdragon Pro Series. I have to say, this is insane. And it was clinical. Both hard points for one in convincing fashion by exclusive. Realistically, control, yeah, it's still a weak point, but Kings just got slaughtered.
That was not what I expected at all. Not only from the series, but from the map. Kings just such slow starts in every single one of the hard points. And that had really been their strongest game mode throughout the season. So to see them struggle in that fashion was certainly not what we expected. But not only for it to be in one mode, but to see it happen in Search and Destroy as well, exclusive. The improvements were absolutely there, and they certainly earned that series 3-1.
I actually can't believe that. Look, I think we all sort of thought that exclusive beating Kings isn't... It's not on the realms of possibility, but based on some of the series that we've seen over the season, based on exclusive in their previous game, yeah, okay, dealing with Omniscient, but not necessarily being the most convincing. The fact that they've came in 3-1 Kings, 2 hardpoint wins on top of that as well, incredible stuff from exclusive. And I mean, like, I'm going to presume that Kings will get themselves to the grand final, of course. It sets us up so beautifully for that. It is just going to be an absolute banger. What a performance from exclusive.
Where was this the first time they faced off? Like you said, Bobby clearly did some work in that downtime between the end of the season and now here in finals. My biggest question is, like Tun just said, pretty likely now with Kings dropping down into that lower bracket that they'll be able to make a lower bracket run, get themselves into that grand finals. Did exclusive peak too early?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like that gives them so much momentum right there. Yeah. And I think once again, it's one of those roster changes that on paper doesn't make sense to take Shark out of the rotation. But it's obviously worked as they're able to take down Kings and some last-second adjustments on top of, once again, we talked about the fact the meta changes. Are there some teams that are uber-dependent on this OTM mag for the DRH to be able to get those wins? Obviously, you can't really look at Marvel for that because he was using the DRH without it, and once again, carrying all the way through those series. But just definitely uncharacteristic games out of a lot of the rest of the players on that squad, and definitely going to need to regain. We've seen them do that before. We've seen them bounce back and have a big playoffs, but this is an exclusive squad that is not messing around.
They looked fantastic. This is going to, like you said, it's going to be an insane day 2 now, as that was our last match here for the first half of our challenge finals. But things are going to only get more exciting. Like we said before, it's a best of 7 when it comes to our grand finals as well. So that will give the teams a little bit more opportunity to have this back and forth. But now also taking into consideration, if I'm not mistaken, exclusive will come in with a 1 map advantage, being in that upper bracket versus the lower brackets. That's another thing that they seem to have to be paying attention to, Connie.
Yeah, in terms of the actual format there, I love the idea of the 1 map advantage. I think it really will add sort of precedence as to why winner's bracket was so important in the first place. And really, it does put Kings in a position now where, again, they have to prove even more than they actually have proven so far in the entirety of the series. It's just a case now, can they, you know, go through lower bracket, like Chris said, set us up for that final and give us the justice we deserve?
I I'm stoked. I did not see it playing out this way, and I am very excited to see what happens now throughout the rest of the day. Obviously, we're done for now, but before we even say goodbye, we have to start recapping the day. Give me your thoughts on everything that went down.
I think for the most part, up until that game, kind of as expected, Kings coming out nice and hot up against Mont. You would expect that. Exclusive against Omniscient. I was happy in the sense that we've seen a lot more from Omniscient than we did in the previous series between themselves and Exclusive, because let's face it, I mean, they could have done anything and looked better than they did in that series. So that was good. So Omniscient are still within a shout here. I think they'll be looking at it and sort of saying, look, Kings just lost. If we beat Mont, let's go up against them and give them the game that we give them in that first week.
Oh,
again.
God.
They will want to prove themselves again. And now they're going up against the Kings, who are either going to answer in the sense of it is a wounded animal now cornered, you don't want to be going too near, or are they going to be able to take advantage of them maybe just being a little bit down in the dumps about that one? It's an interesting theory.
Bobby, we've seen this happen across a couple regions where we have this undefeated squad throughout an entire challenge season, then we get to finals, and I don't know what happens, but they get put on the back foot and then they struggle a little bit. Do you think that's the case with Kings?
I don't think that it will be, just because this squad has been together through so many things. I think a lot of the teams that we've seen that happen to have been less experienced, exception being maybe Glorious, who is the former Skade squad from 2022. And if that ends up being the case, then I don't know. Sometimes the expectations just go out the window, because there are teams that by all odds should be able to close out series and they just fail to do so. But once again, I think they've got the leadership and the talent on this squad to be able to beat Exclusive. Whether or not they can actually do it's a different question, because I think a lot of this is absolutely on Exclusive's improvements and the changes that they've made to be able to beat Kings. So I don't think it's even necessarily all on the Kings playing worse than we expected. I think a lot of this is just Exclusive hitting all four cylinders at the right time.
All right, and Connie, final thoughts from you. First day on the broadcast, first day with some great matches as well. What are your impressions?
Well, I've only been for a day, and I'll tell you what, I think I've completely changed the course of history for the entire series. I will say, though, in terms of expectations, I've been impressed thoroughly. Great gameplay and lots of interesting matches. I will also add, though, in terms of surface level and deeper meaning for what this means for Kings, surface level, I mean, the luck ran out, right? But on a deeper level, I think throughout the time from round robin to now, and even before then, they gave away a little bit of information about their game, to which the entirety of the opposition put together and took the series 3-1.
All right, well, it was a great way to kick off our challenge finals, but the upper bracket portion of our competition is now done, and it's Exclusive who claim the first spot in our grand finals that will happen back here tomorrow. But of course, tomorrow, first we'll move through that lower bracket portion of the competition to see who goes up against Exclusive in that best of 7. So make sure you tune back in so you see how everything plays out. As always, a huge thank you to Snapdragon Elite Gaming, Samsung Galaxy, Monster Energy, and DHL for helping us make this whole thing possible. And a huge thank you to all of you at home for watching. It's time for us to get into NA in just a short while. If you're here for EU only, we'll see you tomorrow.
Ain't got no time for no fear. I work too hard to get here. Ain't got no time for no fear. I work too hard to get here. I don't got the time, put me in, coach. I've been going hard, time to let it show. Everything raw, give it to me now. Let me have the spot, man, it's going down. Gotta get it here, I don't wanna wait. Take what I want, then I go train. Gotta get a win, I won't lose the game. This is my year, I ain't gonna break. Strap in, cause it's gonna be a long ride. Working on me every single day and night. There comes a time when your worlds will collide. If it's holding you back, push it right to the side.
On another level, I will never settle. Mind over matter, get the gold medal. On another level, I will never settle. Mind over matter, get the gold medal.
Ain't got no time for no fear. I work too hard to get here. Ain't got no time for no fear. I work too hard to get here.
On another level, I will never settle. Mind over matter, get the gold medal. On another level, I will never settle. Mind over matter, get the gold medal. On another level, I will never settle. Mind over matter, get the gold medal. On another level, I will never settle. Mind over matter, get the gold medal.
Ain't got no time for no fear. got the time, put me in, coach. I've been going hard, time to let it show. Everything raw, give it to me now. Let me have the spot, man, it's going down. Gotta get it here, I don't wanna wait. Take